All right, welcome to another edition of the BS Sessions. Jerry, what's up, brother?
What is going on, everybody? I'm
Hey,
doing
Jerry.
good, I think. It's not you got a fucking abscess in my tooth, but other than that, I'm doing all right. Hurts like fuck, but oh well, what can you do? Anyway, welcome to our show again, and let's introduce the panel again. We got Al Horta, man, from the Be Cool to Be podcast, out podcast. Hey, I said it right this time. I'm 1 for 1 tonight.
And the Black Spinners.
Yeah. And the Black Spinner Circle. Like I said, circle this time. Usually I say cycle, but it's circle. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Hanging in there, man.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
happy to be on, man. Thank you for having me as always.
Yep. And my partner from the Three Shots Down podcast, and Al's partner on the Black Spinner Circle podcast, Andy Rodriguez. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Jerry?
We
Thanks a lot
we seem to see each other every day, it seems like now.
right. It seems like we're always working on something together, Jerry, and I love every day of it.
Yeah,
but thanks a lot for having me. I'm so excited about this episode. I'll talk more about it after we reveal what the episode's about. So I'm excited to be here. I love talking music with you guys. So every time I'm on here, I'm thrilled throughout the day until the time happens.
All right, our next guest is Joesph, Stuab, man. How you doing, man? This guy knows more about fucking music. I'm twice his age, and he knows more about fucking music than I do, man. How you doing?
Tell me.
Doing great. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited for this one. This is a topic that's been in the news many times with this show, and so I'm excited to talk about it and talk about some good bands.
Cool. And then there's Mark.
What's up?
What's up?
How you doing? Wearing my Thrasher Die shirt.
Cool.
Representing.
I guess
Are they going to be number one?
I don't know why. I don't know why it's pissed. He sent me to this shirt. He sent me this shirt for free.
Yeah.
I was a dick. Yeah. There you go. Just saying.
Hey, it's all good now. So.
It's all good. Yeah. So Jerry, throw it to Al.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna throw it back.
Wake up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm these painkillers I got are kind of fucking with my brain tonight. But anyway, man, Al, we're doing a guest pick tonight, and Al picked the topic, man. What'd you pick for us tonight, man?
What is this, the fucking codeine episode? Everybody's on codeine and shit. Sleeping.
This high class water I'm drinking.
I got whiskey. I'm good.
Nah, I got mineral water here.
I got Powerade Zero.
Yeah, you guys asked me
the orange.
You guys asked me to pick a topic, so I was like, hey, let's do your top 11 Hall of Fame Rock and Roll Hall of Fame snubs. Who you think it should be in, that it's not in already, and that's really it, man. It's the gist of it, man.
Right.
I mean, every year when the nominees are announced, and it's always the uproar, the fucking why isn't this band or whatever nominated, and I think they did pretty good this year, actually. I think they got some things right. Ever since they got Jan Wenner out of there, I think things have gotten a little bit better. It's still an elitist institution, Hey, listen, man, we all do lists. We all have our favorite shit. It's just we're almost not that different than the panel that sits in the room and picks the nominees for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Sure.
We're a bit more open-minded, I think. I like to think that, but listen, man, whenever like Rolling Stone comes out with top 100 guitarists, it's always uproar. There's always, this should have been this, that. It's opinions that people have, man. It's, you're never gonna appeal to everybody. So but it's always a cool thing every year to just kind of debate it,
Yeah, right.
But ultimately, like a lot of people say, look behind you here or there, or, that's your Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's your collection, man. You know what I mean? So that's who you love and stuff. But this is still a cool thing. What bands you think should be in? And I just kind of thought it'd be a cool topic. So thank you for letting me do that.
I have a question though. Are we really open-minded? Us, our group of people.
I like to think so.
We're always get upset when somebody not upset, but why is somebody like Madonna in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You know what I mean? For our type of music's rock and metal most. Well, you guys,
She's in the Hard On Hall of Fame when I was a kid, so there you go.
Well,
I've pretty much gotten over. I've gotten over the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. The name of it. At this point, it's just at the
Right.
point of
It's a
return,
music hall of fame.
It's just
Sure.
yeah, man. I mean, it's just the name of the institution, and that's it. But it's not really. They're just putting it, like Joesph said, it's a music hall of fame at this.
Gotcha.
They're just not going to rebrand it or whatever. To just keep the name, you know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just at the point of no return now. I've accepted it that hip hop can be in there, jazz and things like that. I mean, and I think it should, because there's certain things that influence each other and cross pollinate and everything, and so whatever, man.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I agree. But there's some people that just won't accept anything but rock and roll and metal. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Or what they define as rock and roll. And
right. Sure enough. Yeah.
And I think that with opening the doors to different genres, I think it's made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a little bit more interesting, because it started to get so close-minded. Now they've opened the doors to a lot of these artists that meant so much to us, even if they were rock or pop, or even there's some country artists in there that had the old-fashioned rock and roll mentality. So it's really open doors. It's a wonderful thing, and I am ready for this episode. I'm so excited. And I was talking to Al about this, and I was thinking that maybe after we say something, we'll make our choices, that we can each give a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
If you think if you think like that, and no, I'm not taking any offense to if anybody puts a thumb down to my pick. I'm sure everybody else won't. It's just do you think that band should be in or not?
Right.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. That's it, man.
Yeah, it's no arguing or saying, "Oh, you don't."
We can debate it. We can debate it.
Yeah, and you also got to put it in mind. Even if you don't like that person or band, you got to say, well, did it do enough for other people?
Well, that's that's my whole criteria of my list is I might not even like, there's some bands on my, I mean, I kind of like them all, but there's some that I like. There's a couple that are on my list that I absolutely hated when I was younger. I've come around to them now, but I the way I thought about it is I put bands in that really kind of pushed the envelope, that kind of were original in what they did and kind of created something and things like that. I mean, we can all name off fucking band, and I name bands that I'm realistic that could actually get into the Rock and Roll of Fame. I can rattle off fucking 50 bands, bro, that no chance in fucking hell they'll ever get in the Hall of Fame. So I left that shit out, man. Because
Dangerous Toys, LA Guns, they'll never get in the Hall of Fame.
There's no even like chance in hell, bro. I didn't even think of those bands. I thought
it sucks because one of my favorite bands, Night Ranger, I don't think they'll ever get in there.
They'll never get in.
Yeah, no,
I think my list is pretty much at least worth a mention in a debate about. I mean,
I think mine is as well. I did mine. There's a couple pictures I'm like, yeah, this is definitely like a personal pick for me. Like, this is a band that I'd like to see in the Rock Hall of Fame. Most of my list are bands that, like, it shocks the hell out of me are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That most of my list is particularly my number one.
On my honorables, there may be like some that are on the fence that like I'd like to see them get in, but it's probably not going to happen. But for the real list, the 11, I chose bands that have a fighting chance to actually get in there. So, and that's the way I thought about it. I mean, everybody else could do whatever they want, man. I mean, you can rattle off your Night Rangers and your Rats and
I picked bands that were highly influential. That's a criteria for the Rock and Roll of Fame. They had to influence people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I went by, kind of. And there's one band I didn't even put on here because they fucking suck and I hate them right now. But
who would that be, Mark?
Motley Crue.
They'll never get in.
Well, the fan vote always puts them number one.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that.
I don't think they ever get in. No.
Oh, I think
I think of all the bands in that ilk, they're the ones that would have the biggest chance.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well, we'll get to listen. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Good point. Yeah. Let's get to the BS.
Let's get to the BS. Let's start off with Joesph, man. Talk about your M3.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
For anyone that is not following the goings on Facebook, this past weekend, I attended the M3 Rock Festival in Maryland. My 6th year going to the M3 Rock Festival. This year it was for the past couple of years it's been Saturday and Sunday, and this was the same this year. Just quick rattle off of some of the bands that were there. Saturday the headliner was Queensryche. Sunday the headliner was Bret Michaels with his solo band. Some of the kind of co-headliners, Night Ranger, Y&T, Striper, Stephen Piercy, who else was there?
Damn, what a lineup so far.
Quiet Riot, and a couple other pretty decent name bands. And then of course there were some smaller name bands, Pretty Boy Floyd, Faster Pussycat, Child's Play, which is a band I've really come to really love. It's a local Baltimore band that kind of made it decently, like they had some MTV songs. Cold Sweat, which is Mark Ferrari from Keel, his band, they were phenomenal. It was one of their first shows. They just got back together, and it's all 5 original members. So they only made one album in like 1990, I believe, and they still have all 5 original members in the band, and they were phenomenal. Aldo Nova was there.
Oh wow, that's cool. I really like his music.
Mm-hmm. He played a pretty short set. I think he cut his time short. He only played like 6 songs, and it was almost all songs off the first album.
I met that guy that he has on guitar, Jack Frost, in New Jersey. Man, I always ran into him at a lot of shows because he's a Jersey guy, and I'd always like see him and hey, what's up, Jack? So it's kind of cool he landed that gig. That's a good gig for him. He's a great guitar player, actually. So,
yeah.
I thought that Aldo Nova played lead. He doesn't play lead.
He does, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah,
he does, right? Okay.
I think he trades off with.
Yeah, I think he does. But just quick little review. Oh, first of all, for anyone who watches the Black Spinner Circle podcast, I got to finally meet up with Brad. So that was kind of cool that we got to meet in person.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure he's the first person I've ever actually met that I've done a podcast with. So
awesome.
that was awesome. That was really cool. Get to talk to him for a while. And just a little quick review of some of the bigger bands. I know I talked about in the lead up for the past couple months, everyone was kind of worried about Queensryche. What were they going to do? And they did the Origin set. They did the EP and the Warning. I had a great time with it. The pavilion emptied out.
Really? Wow.
About halfway through the EP, people just started leaving.
Wow.
Right about like 2 or 3 songs into the Warning, Todd came out and kind of made the little speech saying, hey, if you're wondering why we're not playing Silent Lucidity and Jet City Woman, this is what we're doing right now. We're proud of this. We're sticking by this. We could have come out here and played a greatest hit set, but this is what we're doing right now. We really are proud of this material. We want to play this for you guys. If you enjoy it, we're really happy. We'd love for you guys to stay and listen. And I thought that was really good of him to do that, to come out and like not just like ignore the crowd. And they played the song Empire at the end. But they played the EP and the Warning in full, what they're doing right now. And I really enjoyed it. The people who stayed had a great time, but I felt kind of bad because you could see that the crowd was just emptying out.
Dude, that last album they made was amazing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Except for Rebel Yell in the Forest. I hate those 2 songs. Yeah.
But I thought they did a great job. They sound amazing. Todd has a great voice. They definitely did justice to those songs. They really gave me a new appreciation for the EP and the Warning, and I thought they did a great job. Stephen Piercy did the full Out of the Cellar, which was awesome to see. That full album played live, and He was having a great time. His voice was a little shaky at points, but he was having a great time. He was really into it. I know I've seen clips of him in the past where he looked like he was not entirely there, but he was on it for this show. I really had a great time with them. Quiet Riot was by far the MVPs of the first day. They put on an amazing show. They always do. They were there last year, and they were by far the best of the weekend.
Jizzy Pearl's the singer, right?
Oh,
Yes.
I love Jizzy Pearl. I forgot he was singing with
Jizzy
him.
Pearl
Yeah, that would have
singing.
been good.
It's Jizzy Pearl, Rudy Sarzo on
Yeah.
bass, the guitarist they've had for years.
Drummer is the dude from Typo Negative.
Yes, yeah, and then the guitarist they've had for years. And they did phenomenal. They did a great job. Set list was really good. I love the tribute they do when they play Thunderbird. They do a tribute to Frankie and Randy and Kevin. They show pictures and videos and stuff behind them. I always really appreciate that, and the crowd was super into Quiet Riot, and they did a phenomenal job. The second day, the weather was a lot better, which helped. I think people were in better spirits the second day, and so the big run of 4 bands on the second day it started out with Y&T. Was the last 4 bands were Y&T, Stryper, Night Ranger, and Bret Michaels. Y&T is phenomenal. If you've never seen Y&T live,
I need to see them, man.
You never
they
saw?
are
Oh yeah, I remember.
freaking
You never.
amazing.
I've seen them twice in the last few years. They are amazing, dude.
You would never believe there's 2 guys that just turned 70 that played this festival, and you'd never believe either one of them 70. And Manichetti is absolutely phenomenal.
On fucking fire with
they
his
played
solos
a great they
and
played
his
a great
voice.
set list. It was a shorter set list because it's a festival, but they played like 4 songs off Black Tiger, a couple songs off Mean Streak, a couple songs in Rock We Trust, and of course Summertime Girls. But they sounded amazing. They put on a great show. Stryper came out. Unfortunately, Michael Sweet's still having some issues with his voice because of his cancer diagnosis, which prayers go out to Michael Sweet. They still put on an amazing show. I saw he made a post in the days after that he had decided not to wear in-ear monitors for that show, and it was really throwing him off because the mix on stage wasn't right, and so he was having a hard time. He couldn't hear himself, and he was a little off, but I still thought they put on a great show. I'm always amazed how interested this kind of crowd is in Stryper when they're between all these different bands. I mean, literally 2 bands before them was Faster Pussycat singing Bathroom Wall, and then you got Stryper coming out and singing about God and Jesus, and everyone's into it. And I'm always amazed, and I really appreciate that. I think they always do a great job, especially in that sort of setting. Night Ranger,
and I saw what you wrote to Michael Sweet. That was beautiful, man.
Yeah, I always it always touches me when they come out to that kind of a crowd and the crowd is that receptive to them. It always really touches me. But for me, by far my MVP of the weekend was Night Ranger. Absolutely phenomenal. This is, I think, my 4th time seeing them live.
Oh wow.
Absolutely on. Jack Blades just turned 70 a couple weeks ago, running around stage like a madman. Still has it, still has the energy, still has the vocals. Brad Gillis is insane live, always having a great time.
Carrie's good too, man.
Carrie broke his ankle on stage.
Carrie Kelly?
Carrie Kelly broke his ankle on stage.
I thought you said Kelly Keegan.
No, Carrie
Kelly? Shit.
It was Carrie. Carrie Kelly broke his ankle. They must have had, because it's a smaller stage at Merriweather, they have a different stage setup than they usually do. So they always have that like staircase behind them. They must have had a smaller version, and so Carrie went to walk around, and he must have tripped. So I saw him fall, and he got back up, and he made it through the rest of the show, and no one really noticed anything. But when I look back at some of the videos, you can see he's kind of nursing his ankle. He's kind of between songs. He's kind of leaning on the staircase with his ankle in the air, and so there's debates whether he broke it or he just really sprained it. But he hurt himself.
A sprain will make you hobble too, man.
Yeah.
I was out for a week of work with a sprain. So.
Oh yeah, my mom just went through that, and so I know how bad those can be. But they were phenomenal. They had a great set list. They didn't do any of the stupid covers that they usually do.
Fuck!
They did the damn Yankees songs.
Oh fuck! I like that shit though, but
well, no, they didn't do like this. They didn't do like Crazy Train or like Roadhouse Blues or that.
That's good, man.
That's what I mean.
I want to hear them do Crazy.
That's what I mean. that the last time I saw them, half the show was covers, and I hated
I was
it.
pissed they didn't play one song off the last album and the band played on. That album was fucking amazing.
I think I saw them play one song off that once.
Oh, you asshole.
I definitely saw them play off a song or two
Coming
off the
for
album
you?
before
Did
that.
they play Coming For You?
I can't remember.
Ah.
But their set list on Sunday night was great. I messaged Mark. It was the first time I ever got to see them play Eddie's Coming Out Tonight.
I saw that before though.
Great track. They played basically they stuck to the first 3 albums. They did, I think, 4 songs off the first album, then 3 off the second and third albums, and then the Damn Yankees covers. But it was a great set list. They did Goodbye, which is an amazing. I love seeing them do Goodbye.
Yeah.
Only my second time seeing them do that song. They did a great job.
Do you care if Kelly comes from behind a drum set to sing that?
Which is what they did.
But do you care for that? Because I heard a podcast where these guys are going, I hate it when Kelly comes out. I think it's Growing Up Rock podcast. They say, I hate it when Kelly comes out on stage and sings.
I like how they do it because he because Jack will come over and they'll sing it together, and I like how they do it because I like how they do it.
I like it too.
It's different from the studio version where they do the first half acoustically, and then the second half when the drums really come in, they do that electric, and it sounds great. It kind of gives it that kind of offset balance. I love it because it's him and Jack come out to the center of the stage and sing it together, and Brad and Kelly are doing the guitar parts, and it's phenomenal. I love when they do that, but they were absolutely phenomenal. And then really surprised me, I really enjoyed Bret Michaels. I was not expecting to enjoy Bret Michaels. He came out there with so much energy. The band was amazing. He had been changing his set list up, but specifically because we were in Baltimore, and he talked about, because they're from Mechanicsburg, they're from less than an hour from where I'm from. Talking about playing in Hammerjacks in the early days, and so he played the title track to Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Yes, love that song.
They did a great job, and then halfway through, at what everybody was waiting for, what they advertised, Dee Snider came out, and Dee Snider did We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock, and then he and Bret did Highway to Hell together. And then Bret finished his set, and then brought Night Ranger out for one of the songs. Bret brought Night Ranger out to play with him, and
he had them on that Party Gras, the first one,
that's kind of what this is.
Yeah,
that's kind of what this whole thing is. Like it's one of the Party Gras things, and so all the bands from M3 were coming out to play with him, and like some of the guys from Pretty Boy Floyd were coming out to play with him, and Faster Pussycat, and were coming out like on different songs and stuff. And then when he did Nothing But a Good Time, Dee Snider came back out and sang that with him.
Nice.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
Hey, you hear that, Poison haters? Dee Snider likes Bret Michaels.
No, they're really good friends. They're like really, really good friends.
I love Poison. Fuck you, people.
Dee Snider was absolutely hilarious. I made the joke I went with my mom and my sister, and I made the joke to my mom afterwards that this is the first M3. This is the 15th annual M3, and this is the first one since Kix retired. Kix played at every single M3. And so Dee Snider was the comedic relief since Steve Whiteman wasn't there.
Oh, I've never got to see that band.
And so Dee Snider did this whole big comedic bit between We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock, where he talked about all the money he gets from licensing it for commercials and stuff, and talked about licensing We're Not Gonna Take It for a premenopausal women's ad or something like that. Told some woman in the front row that her cooch looked dry or something like that.
Oh,
and looked like he said, "Well, looks like there's going to be some dust devils coming out of that thing." And everyone was laughing their butts off. And then he said, "I'm a whore, but I'm an expensive whore. Otherwise, I never would have licensed this next song out to SpongeBob fucking SquarePants." And then they played "I Wanna Rock," and it was great. So it's a great festival. It's really kind of like one of the only festivals like it in America, where it's
that's
really,
the only one I like. I've seen Rocklahoma. I've seen Power Trip would have been cool to go to.
Yeah,
and they're bringing that back, but not as top tier bands next year.
Yeah, but M3's always been really focused on the 80s music.
Dude, I need to go to Maryland and fucking hang out with you and go to one
you
of
gotta
those.
come. You gotta come.
I want to go.
You gotta. It's always a great time. People dress up. People have the spandex and the big hair, and people do it's people my age that are dressing up for this stuff. It's not
That's
people
awesome.
It's people my age that really get into it.
Yeah, I retired my spandex.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's still some guys that come in it that probably shouldn't be wearing the spandex, but
All right, man. I want to get to anything else about M3 before I move on?
It was just great
Al,
experience.
I saw on Facebook, man. You saw Toto, man. How was that?
Dude, amazing, man. That's like my third time seeing them live, and they're just fucking phenomenal. Like, I always fucking thinking about this. I was laughing, and like I was seeing clips of like Motley Crue like doing like the Atlantic City thing and just making a complete embarrassment out of themselves, dude.
Asses of themselves.
And then I see a band like Toto, like they're 100% completely fucking live, bro, and like they're like flawless, man. I'm comparing Motley Crue to Toto. It's just two complete different bands, and genres and everything. But
the professionalism,
and just the fucking they're just so good, man, musician wise, and Lukather just has a time of his life on stage, dude. And he's funny as hell and just cracks jokes and all sorts of stuff. And his guitar playing, I mean, he's one of the greatest guitar players, dude, that doesn't get recognized as that. For the amount of session work that guy has done.
Oh my God.
It's like,
Thriller? Well, Andy don't like Thriller, but that's okay.
Unbelievable, man.
Okay,
So
that's okay.
I got the set list here.
How do you get that, man? How the hell do you get that shit?
I got one of Steve.
You moved to fucking Florida and you're still getting your perks. What the fuck?
The cool thing about Lukather's guitar player, he's got Toto on one side. On the other side, he's got Ringo because he plays in Ringo.
I saw him with Ringo. He was funny, but when he tries to sing lead, he was singing some Toto songs, and finally the keyboard player behind him took over in Ringo's band. And I was like happy because his voice was horrible by itself. It's like, don't sing, dude. Play guitar. You're awesome.
He sings lead like 2 or 3 songs like during the show. There was like a couple. There's like a 1 or 2 Toto albums where he was the lead singer on it. But they've had a couple lead singers, but the mix of songs that they did, I mean, they even did Little Wing by Hendrix, which is awesome. Wow. He sang that. They did With a Little Help from My Friends, the Beatles, but they do the Joe Cocker type version.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. And then they do all their hits and all that stuff, So I mean, just they were awesome, man. And how do I get the set list? I go down to the stage, bro, and the one of the stage hands handed it to me. So I just asked for it, Well,
I saw somebody get that from the crew at the Extreme show, and I said, "Fuck, I should have went that." If I wasn't so nervous, I could have asked him. I saw one person.
Well, yeah, Mark, you would have only had to beat 9 other people.
Here's a little tip. If you can't get to the stage, find the soundboard.
Yeah, I was right next to the soundboard, and I saw some people. I said, "Fuck, why didn't I have balls to do that?"
Yeah, and then usually the soundboard guy will have a copy of it as well. So I don't know, man. It's my thing, man. I tend to get them a lot, and I have a great collection. Actually, I gotta put one day I want to make a video or somewhere like pictures of all my set list collection. I got quite a few, and
I've seen plenty of them. So
I know what you guitar picks, drumsticks, things. Don't
you got the Extreme set list too?
I do have that one. Yeah,
I know. I was like, fucker.
Awesome. And what was I gonna say? Oh, and then I was gonna try to stick around and try to meet like Steve Lukather, but it was a Wednesday night and the venue was like an hour from our house. So my wife and I was just like, you know what? I gotta work the next day, man. So I'm not sticking around. Usually if you're gonna try to be around back by their bus and meet them, they ain't gonna come out for like fucking an hour and a half, almost 2 hours after the show.
Really? That long?
Yeah, sometimes it might be an hour. They're unwinding backstage and they have friends there, and
we're learning secrets here, man. This is cool.
So
I've had patience. I'll wait 2 hours.
It was a school night, so I decided to go home. Even my wife was like saying, "Do you want to meet him?" I'll stay. I'm like, "Nah, let's just go home."
That's a cool fucking wife there.
So we're an hour from home, so I just like, let's go home. Anyway, so that was my Toto thing. So they were great. Thank you.
All right, man. So then I'm just gonna put this is for all of us except Joesph. Joesph, this doesn't mean shit to you. Okay. Sony CD Walkman with anti-shock in the Smithsonian Museum. Oh, do you guys have any thoughts about that?
I had a portable CD player when I was growing up.
I still have it. I still have 2 of them, I think.
It's in the Smithsonian. What the fuck?
We're old, man.
We're old. Any thoughts on that, or we're just old? We're just old. That quick story right there. But let's get to a story, and I'm gonna start. I think Al and Andy will have more to say about this man than I do, because I hate fucking Nirvana. But Steve Albini, he just passed. Al.
No, well, I mean, he was kind of the guy in the 90s, man. You know, like a lot of I mean, it wasn't only Nirvana, dude. I mean, you know, Page and Plant used them.
He
A
produced
bunch of
that
different-
album?
For
Yeah,
walking.
walking into Clarksdale. He's the one that produced
Oh,
it.
okay. I thought it was.
He
Oh,
did that
wrong
album.
one. I was thinking of Coverdale Page. My bad.
No, walking into Clarksdale.
Uh,
He did a version of Cheap Tricks in Color, which remains unreleased, but I have a bootleg of it. I love that version of the album. Maybe his death will kind of prompt Cheap Trick maybe to put it out now or something. And
I've
maybe
never
finish-
heard it. I thought it. People told me it was sucked, so I didn't ever listen to it.
It's just a more modern kind of up. It's kind of, you know, more like if you would hear them live playing the songs, it's kind of like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's more like kind of live in the studio kind of thing, you know, because they always complained about that album, the Tom Werman production, that he kind of tamed them down in the studio.
Just one song.
No, like the production of the whole thing, man.
Well, I Want
Yeah.
You to Want Me was horrible on that album.
Well, that's just the version that they play. It's not doesn't really have to do with the production. It's just the arrangement.
Yeah, it's
I
slower.
love that whole fucking album.
Yeah. No,
That song.
I love In Color too, dude. I actually I don't think the production's bad on it, but when you go from the first album that's produced by Jack Douglas to Tom Werman, you can kind of hear the difference. You know,
Nothing touches the first album. Maybe the 97, 96.
yeah, I love the '97 album
97
too.
album. Yeah, so
But that's when they did the In Color with Steve Albini when they were doing
97.
the '97 album. Which, funny enough, Steve Albini didn't produce that one, but I guess they produced a single with him or something, and then they decided to just they had time in the studio and they just was like, let's fucking re-record In Color, so they just did that, and it leaked out in the bootleg. I remember getting it on bootleg when it leaked out back like it was pre even like BitTorrent days, man. Like my friend had a CD of it and he burned me a copy, and I got the artwork and everything with it, so it's cool. But anyway, you know, he's a legendary producer, man. You can't take any of that away from him. A lot of came into prominence in the '90s. So I think didn't he do something with I don't have his resume in front of me, man, but
Bush,
did a lot of stuff with
Pixies,
Yeah, the Pixies. I like
a lot of the
Bush. I like
alternative acts.
yeah.
And
PJ Harvey, all kinds of people like that.
And
yeah.
I heard he didn't like to be called a producer. Like all his albums say recorded by Steve Albini.
Yeah, that was the thing with him. Yeah. Andy can take over if you want to talk about it.
Andy.
Yeah, he did a lot of do-it-yourself bands. A lot of bands in the '90s that were not mainstream, but like bands that were trying to get into the mainstream, but they stayed the cutting edge, and that's where he really made his bread and butter. Were bands that were just in the outskirts of making it big, and bands like Superchunk was one of them. Jerry had said PJ Harvey, which I love PJ Harvey. I think she's an amazing artist. But I really don't have that much more to say because Al pretty much said it all.
I think he's only 61 or something, right? 61 or 62.
Not very old.
Yeah.
The most famous one he did do that most people know is in Utero by Nirvana, which is a fantastic album. I absolutely love that album. It's so raw and so intense and just
I own it.
That's great. I think almost all America does. But
Good for you.
No, but he will be missed because of that trailblazing stuff that he did in the '90s. Like I said, just taking non-stars and just taking real bands where they wanted to go. So that's what you'll always remember about them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
The
Was that the single or that's the?
That's the album.
Yeah, the
Oh, he's
single that
got
came
the.
with it is
I got both those too. The Brontosaurus.
What is it?
and
Yeah.
stuff.
What is it? What is it? Brontosaurus. And
baby
right?
talking
Baby talk.
brontosaurus.
Yeah, I have that too. I have that, and that's my original.
You better put the Cheap Trick away, man. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry. I can't. I forgot.
Hey, man, I didn't get that dig, and you did. Thank you, Jerry. That was awesome. But Joesph, anything about Steve Albini?
Yeah, no, I love what he did. I'm not. From what I've heard, I don't love the version of In Color that he did. It's good, but I'm so used to the original version. But I do love the single that he did with Cheap Trick. I always found it interesting that they paired this with this, even though he didn't produce the actual album.
Yeah.
That this is one of the few things that actually says produced by Steve Albini, not recorded by Steve Albini, because he always hated the producer label.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was extremely influential to a lot of great music throughout the 90s, especially. He was like if you were on the cutting edge of something in the 90s, he probably had something to do with it.
It was either like him or Brendan O'Brien.
Yes.
You know,
I love Brendan O'Brien.
Those were the guys in the 90s, man.
Yeah.
He did some Springsteen albums.
Rick Rubin was
Still
hanging
as
around
well,
there too. Yeah.
Well, Rick Rubin went to shit.
But that was in the 90s. He was still good.
Yeah.
And of course, Butch Vig was in the middle of that.
Well, Butch Vig, I love Garbage.
Well, Bob Rock was still hanging around too, but
well, Bob Rock is hit or
around,
miss.
right.
Hit or miss.
Well, they all are, but
yeah, but these were the ones that we just mentioned in the 90s that they were trailblazing into a different sound and getting away from the
slickness. I think the whole thing of the 90s was just stripping away all that extra gloss and being like kind of like in your face again, like production wise, like you actually hear like a band in the studio like playing live. You know what I mean?
It was a lot of 70s. It was bringing back the feeling of the 70s. And
I agree with that. You know, I was like 20 in 1990. I went through this whole thing, and there's a lot of bands from the 90s I love. It's just not Nirvana.
It was really stripping away a lot of that like excess of the 80s.
Yeah.
And I think that was like
because they became
Steve Albini was like right on the cutting edge of that. But Mark, real quick, before we move on to the next topic, or if you had something to say about this, I just remembered two things. I had two little fun facts I forgot to say about M3. One, Lynch Mob sucks. They are awful. They need to stop playing live. They are atrocious.
What was that album we did, Jerry?
Tour the End Machine. Just tour the End Machine, and
I don't know. I forgot it. It was terrible. It was terrible.
End Machine is the new End Machine album with Girish is amazing. That last fucking. I own it. Anybody want it for free?
What, the Lynch Mob album?
Text me. I will give you Babylon. It is not opened because I listened to it digitally, do a review, but that is the worst fucking album I've heard in my life. Besides Chumbawamba.
Second fun little fact.
At least Chumbawamba had a catchy song.
I agree with
they
that.
get knocked down, but they get up again. Second, for a couple people that are currently on this video call, something that they will find interesting. One of the performers was Doro. Formerly of Warlock. Phenomenal job. Great. She's always great. The second time I've seen her live, she's great. Still has a great voice. Like 4 or 5 songs, because I'm back on the lawn. I had a pavilion seat, but I was staying on the lawn for most of the show, just because it's more fun. About 4 or 5 songs into her set, I look on stage, I'm like, wait, who's that playing guitar? It was freaking Chris Caffrey from Sabotage. Yeah, with Doro.
Eric's going like this right now.
Oh, I texted. That was the first person I texted. It was Eric.
Eric Garcia Jordan's going, fuck, I want to be on this show right now.
Yeah, fucker. No, but it was Chris Caffrey, and literally right after I noticed it, the next song she said, and looking over here on stage left, someone that you should all know very well from Sabotage and TSO, Chris Caffrey, and I'm like, I knew it. I'm like, I did not expect to see Chris Caffrey at M3, but did great as always. And that was just kind of a little fun
I'm
fact.
I'm gonna say, the lawn is
him.
fine at your age now, Joesph, but wait till you get past 40.
What'd you say?
The lawn is good for you right now. Just wait till you get past 40.
I love the lawn. That's where you get all the jimmies being passed around, man.
I can't.
Well, for me, I can't sit in those tiny, cramped little pavilion seats.
Oh, I gotta
can't
be
do it.
standing up. I gotta be dancing.
Well,
I gotta be.
I get to the front. I get to the front of the stage in general admission, but on the fucking lawn, I can't sit, dude. I can't stand because then somebody's sitting in front of. I'm blocking somebody's view, so I feel bad. So I sit. You know.
You're at a rock concert. If you're sitting on the lawn,
Yeah,
that's your own damn problem.
I
That's
know.
the problem.
All right.
Exactly.
Anything to say about Steve
Speaking of
Albini?
M3, real quick, actually, Queen Strike and Armored Saint playing here in Florida tonight. Actually, so
Well, I don't know if Armored Saint's playing.
why?
Did you see that John blew his voice out?
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't
They
see
haven't.
it.
They canceled their last couple shows.
Oh, okay. So
they were playing by themselves up here the same night that Queensryche was down at M3, and they had to cancel that. And then I saw the first show that they came back together, like Monday night or Tuesday night. They had to cancel Armored Saint because John's voice wasn't working.
yeah, well, they were scheduled. I didn't look into it or whatever.
I heard he's back right now though.
Queensryche was still playing the show, but Armored Saint wasn't.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're playing or not.
Yeah, when I saw the Wasp and Armored Saint show like 2 years ago, was Jason McMaster sang at the show.
Oh yeah, I got to see them here, and it was John. It was awesome.
Yeah,
he's having voice problems, and it sucks because that Category 7 album sounds good so far. Like fuck yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
All right, Jerry. Anything on fucking Steve Albini?
I mean, it's a loss. I mean, he did a lot of bands that I really don't like. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Bush or the Pixies or Jesus Lizard, bands like that. I was never a fan of. But obviously he meant something to a lot of people. So rest in peace, dude.
All right, man. So then we get.
I like PJ Harvey though. I do like PJ Harvey.
Let's get to. I'm going to cut the Who story out that Roger says he won't tour. Pete doesn't want to tour. So I'll get to some cool shit here. Let's see. I'm going to cut out sports. We don't need to talk about Shohei Ohtani. How about, what do you guys think? Well, fuck you. What do you guys think about
that bookie's taking the fall big time.
I don't think he is. How
did
this get in here?
And Major League Baseball is going to cover up for their golden boy, no matter what.
Oh, just like LaFlop. Yeah, he gets away with everything.
And they're going to pay that, and Dodgers are going to pay that interpreter.
I'm just fucking with you, Mark. I'm just
sitting here letting you guys go, man. I ain't interrupting you.
I'm saying, Mark, if this would have happened last year when he was still on the Angels, what would you have said about it?
Guilty.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck about the Angels.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I remember
if he wasn't on your team right now.
I don't care, dude. The thing is, I watch Shohei on the Angels, but I don't care about the fucking Angels because I like Trout and fucking Shohei. Fucking Rendon, that fucking guy's a fucking princess. But fucking A, but I'm just going, fuck. I like Shohei. I think he's a good dude. I don't know. We don't know. I'm not gonna judge the guy. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not.
I'll judge him.
Yeah, I know you will because you're a fucking Astro fan.
Pete Rose should have got an interpreter back in the day.
But the thing is,
there's no way that much money passed hands without him.
When the Angels won the World Series, I work at Disneyland, Anaheim. Most of the co-workers are from Anaheim. One guy told me when the Angels won, I was rooting for the fucking Angels because I hate the San Francisco Giants. He fucking was bugging me for 2 weeks. What have the Dodgers done since 1988? What are the Dodgers? And I looked at him. He said, you know what? I fucking rooted for your fucking team, you asshole. Guess what? I curse you fucking Angels. They will suck forever. And guess what? They have sucked forever. The curse of the GOAT, it's the curse of Mark Alden Taylor. Fuck you, Angels. Fuck you. I'd rather watch the Astros than the fucking Angels. There you go.
But the thing is that it's so funny that they win one World Series, they talk shit about a storied franchise,
right? They go. We have 6 championships at that time, and they had one. They had
one, and that was because of Mike Scioscia.
Mike Scioscia rules, and he was
a Dodger catcher.
He played with a fucking broken leg in the playoffs. You know that?
Oh yeah,
he played and blocked the plate with a broken leg.
The Angels fucked up when they let him go. They really, really did.
Well, the fucking Dodgers fucked up when they fucking hired Bill Russell instead of him because they said, we don't think he'll be a fucking manager. in the fucking MLB, and they took Bill Russell, and he got swept by the Reds in the playoffs, Jerry.
Russell lasted that long either, didn't he? I think he lasted like 2
No, he lasted 2 years, and he got swept by the Reds in the playoffs.
How embarrassing.
How
Swept by the
embarrassing.
Reds.
Yeah, well, fuck, you guys used to be good. All right, man. Let's get to
He'll be there.
We have a music story here. No, let's get to this, man, because we like Star Trek. I guess most of us.
No.
I don't think Annie does. But William Shatner says he wants to return as Captain Kirk for one last Star Trek movie. I'm going to start with you, Jerry.
He's been wanting to do that for the last 30 years, and they've always rejected him. So,
And they brought
know.
Leonard Nimoy in. He was so pissed.
I don't know. I don't think that.
Well, that's because honestly, I think to the general public, Leonard Nimoy is more recognizable for that than William Shatner is.
No.
Yes, because people know William Shatner from other things as well, not
William
just Star
Shatner-
Trek.
And William Shatner comes across as a douchebag too, so that probably doesn't up his chances. So
I would rather see him reboot T.J. Hooker.
I have that series right there somewhere.
Oh, dude, T.J. Hooker was awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
where the fuck has Adrian's Med been lately? Wasn't he on that show? He was on that show, right?
Well,
He's still at that bachelor party.
Bachelor, there you go. That's what I was gonna say. I have that DVD right there.
But he didn't do that much. Oh, do you know what? He was in Grease too. Remember?
Oh God, that sucks.
Jesus.
He was in Grease too.
That's why I forgot about him. All right, man.
And the best show that Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner were both ever on. Where's it?
In Search of
Columbo.
I'm trying to get Columbo out.
Did you guys ever watch In Search of when
Yeah, I loved
In
Search
Dude, I loved In Search of, man.
I did too,
Search
man.
of was awesome.
Yep.
Do they have
Yeah.
that on DVD? I want those. Remember In Search of the Loch Ness Monster? That was a good one. Oh man. So let's get to something for fucking Eric here, man. John Carpenter says Oppenheimer was just okay and all right. Everyone's praising this movie as a century. I don't know about that. I'm going to start with Joesph on John Carpenter.
I mean, I've never been a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I think he gets a little overblown sometimes. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer, so I can't judge Oppenheimer, but I think if you're putting anything Christopher Nolan ever did up against John Carpenter is easily gonna best him. And I think if that's what John Carpenter has to say, I think I trust John Carpenter's judgment on it. Now I understand there's people that really love it, and that's perfectly fine. I think movies, like music, is a very subjective art form. If you like it, you like it. I'm not here to tell you what you like and what you don't like. I just, from my own personal experience, have not had a great history with Christopher Nolan's movies. So I'm excited to watch Oppenheimer. I'm still putting it off, but I'm excited to watch it when I get around to it. But I'm not holding my breath that I think it's
you won't be excited after you watch it.
It was okay. It wasn't as great as everybody told me it was. And I love history movies. I love like the Winds of War, like a miniseries, shit like that, man. But what do you have any thoughts on that, Al?
I haven't seen Oppenheimer either, but like I'll echo what Joesph said. I mean, I love John Carpenter, man, and I don't know. I guess I'll trust his judgment as well. So, but that's really it, man. I don't have anything else to say about it.
Andy,
John Carpenter rules, though.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, on that, I've never seen Oppenheimer, but if you want to compare the two, I'd rather see a John Carpenter movie over a Nolan movie.
Yeah.
So that would be my answer.
That one movie with Leo, I think, was the best one I've ever seen. Like in
what Inception?
Inception. That movie is fucking.
I hated that movie.
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone raves about his Batman movies. I never got it.
Oh, I loved them all. I
never got
movies.
it. I thought they were way too self-important.
Heath Ledger was fucking amazing.
I thought Heath Ledger did a great job. I hated Christian Bale as Batman.
Oh, I love Christian Bale. Everybody goes, I am Batman. You know, Michael Keaton did the same thing.
But Michael Keaton was a lot cooler when he did it.
Oh, whatever. Michael Keaton's my favorite Batman, so why am I saying whatever?
He is the best one, man.
He is the best Batman.
But anything, Jerry?
I mean, John Carpenter's earned the right to say his opinion, I guess. But other than that, it is what it is, man. I mean, Oppenheimer to me is like the perfect Best Picture Oscar winner. Boring, long, and just tedious, and just not very good. So, maybe he's got a point. And I love John Carpenter too, one of the best. Other than that, I don't give a shit either way.
Come on, he made a cheesy horror movie and They Live, and it fucking rules.
Well, that's right now on a Tubi. I want to watch it. I've seen it hundreds of times.
They Live. It's just like fucking like lying to remember.
Dude, there's some good shit on Tubi and Pluto, man. There's some good shit on there, man. There really are.
Oh yeah. And see, like I'm a huge fan of long movies. I'm a big long movie guy. I mean, The Godfather is my favorite movie of all time. Like, I thought The Irishman was a masterpiece. Like, I'm a fan of long movies. But like from everything I've heard so far, I'm just like, I am dreading watching this movie.
It gets in like some acidy scenes where they're like tripping. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like, did they need that? No. It's like they're like making a movie for fucking people on acid sometimes in that movie. Just weird because the guy has dreams and it looks like an acid trip. The guy playing Oppenheimer.
Although, like, some of my favorite movies are like 3.5 hour long Western movies. So, like, what am I to judge people?
Yeah.
And most people
I just watched Apocalypse Now, the Redux. That's pretty long, but I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
All right, man. So let's get to some comedy to end this fucking BS. There's a nude cruise set sail from Florida next year.
I'm there.
Are you going, Jerry? Are you going,
Absolutely,
Jerry?
I'm there,
Are
dude.
you going on the nude cruise
I'm
in Florida?
I'm going, and I can't wait, dude.
What cruise is this? I haven't heard it.
The nude
it's a nude cruise.
Oh,
nude cruise.
You have to literally pack nothing. Fuck it.
It's like, I think the
No
top room
souvenir
is like,
T-shirts.
You could get the top 3 bedroom for $30,000. Price of a
well,
car.
I will
Just
say
$30,000.
$30,000 for the top tier room.
You know the bad thing about nudist colonies and stuff like that? Those people that go there, you don't want to see them nude. They don't look very good.
Oh, dude, I used to watch some kids, like, when Tesla Bust a Nut came out, they paid me. I wasn't working. I was watching my grandma. They gave
ironically,
me money.
not Bust a Nut.
I was in the nudist colony and I saw some old saggy fucking women there. And I was going,
Yeah.
Because I picked up his kids from the bus stop and brought them back to the house. I did that because I wasn't working at that time.
If you think you're going to see Baywatch or something there, no, I ain't going to fucking see that there.
And you know where that nudist colony is?
You would literally see people look like me there.
You know where that nudist colony was, Al?
Where?
Right across the freeway from where the S Festival was.
From where?
It's in fucking Devore, where the US Festival was.
Oh, okay.
All right, man. What are we doing, Jerry?
Dude, how can you sit there and fucking like at the dinner table when some dude's nutsack is staring you in the face, man? I mean, what the hell, dude?
I went on a cruise in 1999.
Rifles hanging out.
I just got like one little quick thing, man. I went on a cruise in 1999. I got fucked up and I ran through the ship naked. I streaked the ship.
I never had the stones, no matter how drunk I was, to do that.
Well,
There's times
me neither.
1999, I was in my peak physical shape. So
I look decent when I was younger too. Not great. I didn't look as good as you, but I was, hideous. But
I ran through there, and I just was met with like just jaws. Like, what did I just see? I run into the casino because that's like 2 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. That's what's still hopping is the casino, man. So I ran through there. Yeah. I just ran as quick as I could so nobody could catch me, man.
Yeah, so the good thing is, if I was a security guard, I wouldn't want to tackle you. I mean, so
I saw him on his bike, man. I'm going, fuck, I had a Huffy. He had a good bike, man. This guy has balls.
And you can see him.
Oh, man. Those were the days, man.
Yeah, they were.
Too bad they didn't have video, like cell phones back then.
Well, why would you want to film that?
Well, actually, my cousin who I went on the cruise with, he managed to snap a picture of me running back to the room. So there is a picture. You don't see my junk though, because right when he was taking the picture, I covered my junk with my hand. But it's funny, man.
Oh my god! So
anyway.
Let's get into it, Jerry.
Get into what?
What we're doing?
I'm just kidding.
Get into it.
We're going to do our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame snubs.
That's the show. Good night. Take care.
But
Boy,
yeah,
quick one.
snubs or people that we thought should have been nominated or whatever, people that should be in the Hall of Fame or at least considered. Let's start with Joe, your number 11, dude.
All right. So my number 11 is a band that I love, but I fully admit that they are definitely very snobby. And that being said, you would think they would be perfect for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
And they are three of the most insanely talented musicians ever to be put together in a band. And one of those musicians will be coming up again later on my list in a different band. And as soon as I say the name of this band, you'll know exactly what other band I'm talking about. And that is Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I have no idea how Emerson, Lake and Palmer is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just for the sheer musicality and musical talent that those three people put on display. And you would think that that would be a band that critics would absolutely just be jizzing over.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they have not, I don't think they've ever been nominated.
No,
Just
not
for
even
some
in the
reason.
conversation, man.
No, I think there's just a disconnect there. I mean, they still have songs that are played on the radio. So it's not even like it's like one of those, it's like too out in the weeds. It's
Right.
a band that actually sold fairly well commercially, packed huge arenas for years,
Sold platinum albums.
sold platinum albums, and was a critics band at the same time. So it's a rare combination where you have a band that the critics didn't just shit all over and also sold records and packed arenas. And so they are a band that I am fully surprised has never even been in the conversation. So that is my number 11
in that genre.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Because they were like, as snobby as they could be, they were also one of like the more accessible prog bands. Like they were like one of the only prog bands that was being played on the radio at the time. And still, like, there's not you'll hear Poppy Genesis on the radio, you'll hear 90125 Yes on the radio, but you'll hear 70s ELP on the radio at the same time. And they're one of the only like bands where you'll hear their 70s stuff on the radio still. From that group of prog bands. So I'm surprised that they're a band that's never even been in the conversation.
Well, I'll give that one a thumbs up. I believe they belong in there.
I don't like them, but I do think they influence a lot of bands.
Fair.
Okay, so it was a clean sweep for Neil. Oh, me.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I did not put this in any kind of order, which is very odd for me because I usually do. But I'm going to start off with my number 11 being Smashing Pumpkins being in there. They were a big band in the 90s, and I don't even think they've even been nominated or even spoken about. They had huge albums that sold huge. They're still touring today with different members, of course, but no, in fact, they're
three members now.
Yeah, 3 out of the 4.
You got James Iha in there and Jimmy Chamberlain.
They just got a new guitar player that I've been following for
some girl,
Kiki Wanga.
Yeah.
I've been following her on Instagram forever. She's
a great guitar player. She's a great guitar player.
I've been following her forever.
Talk about somebody who's overqualified for a band. I mean, seriously,
shut the fuck up, Jerry.
No, I'm not saying anything about, but they're not really known for their guitar playing. Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, yeah, they are.
No,
very
leads.
What are you talking about?
What?
Yes.
Have you heard fucking?
Yes, I have. Lead guitar playing.
Lead guitar playing. There's a lot of songs they
were one of the. They were one of the rare bands in the '90s that was playing a lot of lead
shredding.
Yeah.
Just because Billy Corgan says the guitar is obsolete now, his old shit wasn't.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because they would turn songs into 6 or 7 minute epics with the guitar solos. So that's my number 11. I'm going to start off with Smashing Pumpkins as being a band.
I'll give it a thumbs up.
They are a band that I cannot stand in the slightest, but I still think they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Me too. I agree. The same way.
Yeah. So I would give it a thumbs up, even though it's a band.
They were very influential.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'll give them that.
And they didn't
I mean,
sound like anybody else in the 90s.
And they
Actually.
were not grunge. They were not, you know.
I mean that double album was something in the infinite, whatever called something.
Infinite
Sadness.
Yeah. I mean I wasn't a fan of it, but it was a fucking monster album when it came out.
Oh yeah.
I like Siamese Dream and Gish.
Yeah, the first two are my favorites.
Oh god, yeah. Rocket is like one of my favorite all-time songs with them. Love that.
Oh, but I absolutely love Infinite Sadness. I mean, that's one of my favorite double albums.
That's a great album.
I do like 33, I think it is. Yeah, 33 off that album. That's a really good tune. Yeah.
You don't like Bullet with Butterfly Wings?
Not really, no.
Oh.
I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of his voice. That's my problem.
No, I'm not a big I'm not a fan of Billy Corgan.
You know what? I get that because I don't like King Diamond. There you go. There you go.
All right,
But
so Al.
I'm next.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, looks like me and Joesph are starting off on the same tangent here. Yeah, ELP, man. That's my number 11. I mean, massive. Like they were like pioneers in the progressive rock genre. You know, monster musicians. You know, that got on the radio. I mean, like, you know, they were like fucking playing stadiums, dude, and they were known for their stage shows even that early on, man. I mean, Keith Emerson was spinning around the fucking piano and shit, and fucking, dude. I mean, Tommy Lee probably stole the idea from that, man. You know,
I mean, I mean, look at some of Carl Palmer's drum solos and like how he like brought some of that, like the different like percussion instruments in. Like there's some of those YouTube videos of him like showing off his kit and like playing toccata and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And it's insane. I mean, playing timpani at the same time as playing drums.
Yeah, combining the classical with fucking, you know, the bombastic rock, you know, fucking. It just I you know, I remember being a kid and hearing, you know, Lucky Man on the radio, and I was like, wow, it's a really cool song. You know, they had melodic songs too that weren't that overindulgent, and they got on the radio, but then they could be very overindulgent. They can go off, you know. They were the Dream Theater of their time, you know what I mean? So,
yes.
So I mean, they influenced a lot of. They were a big influence on progressive rock, man. I mean, and all the prog rock bands. Well, there's another band that, you know, that I'll probably mention, but yeah, they were one of the main pillars of prog rock in the 70s. So they definitely deserve to be in there. I mean, they were massively, you know, huge and influential. So. That's my number 11, ELP.
All right, Mark.
We reviewed an album. I don't know if you were on that. New York Dolls, man, because I'm going by influence, and I hear all these bands like Guns N' Roses, all these fucking bands talk about New York Dolls, New York Dolls, New York Dolls, New York Dolls. This band is highly influential. Why aren't they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't like a lot of songs by them, but they should be in there. It's like, I like the first album we reviewed. I think it's fucking cool shit. And they are highly influential in our circles. Rock, metal, speed, or whatever. Punk rock. They like the New York Dolls, man. So that's my number 11.
I give that a
definite thumbs up for that one. Yeah.
Thumbs down for me. I'm not a big New York Dolls fan. And I know that they were influential, but they were bands around that time that were influential and better. So that's why I give them a thumbs down.
All right, so my first pick is well, I mean, I'm not really a fan of her style of music, but I think she does belong there. If Whitney Houston and Madonna are in there, I don't see any reason why Mariah Carey is not in there. Fucking one of the best voices ever. I mean, she was a powerhouse in the 90s, man. I mean, you couldn't find a radio station without hearing one of her songs. I don't know why she doesn't get the votes needed to go in. To me, I mean, I think she's the better voice than Madonna. I wouldn't go as far as saying better than Whitney, but it's damn close. I mean, they both have phenomenal voices.
She had better tits than Madonna. There you go.
Okay, so put her in for the tits.
Sorry, I'm being misogynistic.
Is Janet in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yes.
Is she? Okay,
too,
good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, what do you think the reason she's not in there for?
Tommy Mottola?
I don't know, but I will give her a big thumbs up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna give her a thumbs up too, because I massive, dude. Her voice And
Exactly.
like the amount of albums she sold, and she influenced a lot of young and up and coming vocalists, man. So
I love that. I love the first 2 albums by her.
Her range is like on her like just through the stratosphere, man.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
I don't think there would. I don't think.
I
there
remember
would
her first time hearing her, man. I was like blown away by her voice. I was like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Christmas song that's keeping her out. I don't know, but
She become the
that
Christmas
song.
queen.
Love that song.
Big thumbs up for me. And just like Janet, she wrote mostly everything that she sang, and she had a lot to do with the music being put in there. So she was more than just a pretty face on videos. That product was her.
Yeah,
and that's
I love those first 2 albums, man.
She's fantastic.
She gets 2 thumbs in.
All right, Joe.
Alrighty. So my number 10, both just as a person for what he did outside of his band, but also in his band. How is Alan Parsons not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Right. I just want to hear that.
The man engineered Abbey Road.
Let It Be.
He engineered Let It Be. He engineered Dark Side of the Moon.
No.
Not to mention everything he did with the Alan Parsons Project. Extremely influential in like late 70s, early 80s music, the style of music, just like the amount of talent that he discovered and put out into the world, and his partnership with Eric Wolfson. How has he never even been considered?
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, at least behind the scenes.
Exactly. Like as like one of those all they have all those weird side categories and stuff. He's never even been
engineer. I think they have like engineer type.
Probably.
Yeah.
Never even been considered, and I find that insane that he engineered 3 of the most like famous albums of all time. Worked with the Beatles at Abbey Road Studios. Worked with Pink Floyd. Basically, was the reason that Dark Side sounded the way it did.
He had a pretty good fucking band himself too.
Had an amazing band himself. Had all this talent in his circle. Put out some amazing albums, songs that you still hear on the radio, albums that sold a lot of copies. Still goes out and plays live.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. I've always wanted to see him, so I'm looking forward to it.
That is one guy that just had so much impact on the music business that I have no clue how he's been kind of not included in that.
Well, at least as an engineer.
That's what I mean. At least.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll give that a thumbs up.
Oh, definitely.
I will give that a big thumbs up, because even if it's not the project, at least just Alan Parsons for what he's done for rock and roll. Period.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him and Eric Wolfson get in, but even if it's just Alan Parsons for what he's done throughout the entirety of the music business.
Did Jeff Emmerich get in?
Hmm?
Did Jeff Emmerich ever get in?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right.
So Andy, yep.
Yeah. I am going to go with a band that I recently have been getting into, and I'm surprised that they're not in there, because they're not that big in America, and that's not fair. All because they're not that big in America, because they're big in their homeland of Ireland and in England. I'm talking about Thin Lizzy. Belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'll give you my thumbs up right there.
So, yeah, it's a sweep. I really think that they belong in there, not just for what they did with Jailbreak and then their hit singles, but they pretty much conquered, well, not conquered, but there was just a big part of 70s rock and roll with every album that they made, and they embellished it. And I really think that they belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They might not have the name or the popularity here in America, but it's not American bands rock and roll. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Thin Lizzy deserves to be in there.
Yeah, big thumbs up there.
My 10 is riding off of Andy, bro. Thin Lizzy. They weren't the first band to have the dual guitar, but they popularized the dual. They made it their own, and they made it influential. The dual harmony guitars, man, that sang and fucking fills poetic lyrics up against that, man. Just the guy was a poet, man. The guy had a way with words, bro, that should be recognized more. I mean, when he tells a story, you can like imagine yourself in it, man. It's it's like a cinematic, you know, the way he tells like, you know, lyrics and stories and I love this voice, man. I love Phil's voice, dude. You know, I just loved everything about that band. I mean, I'm a late comer to the party too, bro, but you know, it's better late than never, man. And I love that band, dude. And they, to me, they definitely deserve to be in there. So Thin Lizzy's my number 10.
Yeah, you mentioned about him writing great stories. We were talking about Bob Seger last night. Me and Andy were, and
Another guy, yeah.
It's just it's something I could write a good, decent song on guitar, but I can never write lyrics. I can never, you know, it's a natural gift, I think, man. I mean, even when I think of stories when I try to write about it, I never could really write them down on paper. So, you know, some of these people that write just amazing lyrics, and you're right, you know, Thin Lizzy, people like Bob Seger, Thin Lizzy, man, you can visualize what they're saying, like you said.
They're storytellers. They are legitimate storytellers.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So Mark.
I'm going for a group I don't think anybody would pick it. I think they were highly influential. Whatever I'm trying to say. Sonic Youth, man. I love Sonic Youth. They are so different than what came out when they were coming around. Way different, playing out of tune guitars. They fucking influenced a lot of people after them. And I think they're highly influential. And I don't know why Sonic Youth is.
They are influential. I'll give that a thumbs up, even though they're not really my thing. And I never really, you know what? I gotta fully admit, I never really dove into that band. So maybe I'd like some things that they did, but I know that they're very experimental, and they influence a lot of bands. I mean, a lot of that 90s stuff, man. Sonic Youth influenced it. I mean, and they were doing that shit in the 80s, man. You know, so yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah, and the great thing about Sonic Youth was that they were experimental, but they weren't weird experimental.
No.
When you hear Sonic Youth, you know it's been experimental, but there's a groove to it, Mark.
There's still songs there.
Yeah, it's got a groove. Oh, shit, I have no whiskey. Fuck, I was going to take a shot.
You know, because there's some bands that are experimental and they're just being weird just to be weird.
They're flat.
This actually makes sense.
They're flat.
So
like,
yeah,
like Oingo Boingo and fucking, you know, they got a group. There you go.
So yeah,
I don't know much really about them, but I'll go with the group and say, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, they're a band that I don't know enough about to like say yes or no. So
I think you would.
The group consensus is yes, so I'll go with that as well. I'll give it a thumbs up.
I think you would like them,
them,
Joesph. Eddie kind of Strachey, one of his favorite bands.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah, I'll have to check them out.
All right, my turn. This will probably be the first. Everybody's gonna give me 4 thumbs down for this pick, I think, but I don't give a shit. I think she's awesome. From 1995 to 2000. I mean, you heard her music everywhere, and she was just huge all over the radio. Talking about Alanis Morissette, she's been eligible since 1990.
I love her.
1990 in there.
2019, that was her first year of eligibility, and she hasn't even been mentioned yet. And I'm like, why? I mean, during that period, man, she was just fucking one of the hugest things out there. I mean, she did her first 2 albums, and she did that, fucking Uninvited from the City of Angels soundtrack, man. Huge fucking hits, man. I mean, her albums after that didn't really sell after that, but there was still good music there. I mean, so I think eventually, I think she'll probably get up there, or at least mentioned as a nomination. But I really thought she'd be in her first couple of years. I thought she'd be mentioned because, I thought she, had a great body of work. So
I thought she got nominated. No,
she did.
Did she?
Did she?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I thought she.
I could swear she did.
I don't remember her getting nominated, but
I don't remember. But anyway, that's mine.
I'll agree with you, Jerry.
I do.
Okay.
Dude, her album, Jagged Little Pill, dude.
Love that album.
Massive, dude. Massive. And it kind of kicked off that whole like female, big like kind of Lil Affair, even like kind of I won't say the Riot Girl thing, but
I mean, was, No Doubt was right around that time as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, So, and then all those groups, man, L7 and all that stuff, like
Yeah.
they were coming out, man. Like, but she, like, damn, man, that album was just an escape. I don't know how many million. I mean, that thing's got to be like double diamond.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
that has sold like 20 million copies, man.
They only expected to sell a couple thousand when they first fucking did it, and man,
Holy
it's just
shit.
yeah.
I mean, think about how
No,
many
she's
big
only
hits.
in a Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yo, she is Canadian, so
Yeah.
I could see
Yeah,
her
for
being
sure.
in the Canadian Hall of Fame. But like, I don't know, man. But she was huge here in America too, man. I mean, that's fucking,
Yeah.
I mean, the
it
thing,
was
think
that
about
angsty. I mean, that angsty, like, kind of female thing, man, just kind of just snowballed, man. I remember in the 90s, man, it's like it was a big decade for women too, man, because of her. You know. So
Yeah, it was.
but like there was like 4 huge singles off that album. Like
Yeah, there was.
it blew up. I mean, You Ought to Know was insanely big, and then
Ironic,
Ironic, You
Hand
Live,
in Pocket,
Hand in
My
Pocket.
Don't
yeah,
you think?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
love
was
that
just
album.
yeah. I mean, I just think she's worthy of the Hall of Fame. I think in my
Yeah,
opinion. So,
she's like Oasis to me. I could only listen to them in little bits, but I do like them.
I get that she can be a little
Her voice gets on my
overbearing
nerves a little bit.
with
If I
her
listen to a
lyrics,
whole album, I
but,
gotta listen to the songs I
see-
like and then go back.
See, I
later.
love that. I love that, man. That little thing that Dolores Reardon did and fucking Sarah McLachlan. I love that.
Well, Cranberries.
kinda
I
like
can't listen to a
breathy
whole
kind of-
Cranberries album without.
I like
stopping
that. I
it.
kind of it was a style back then. I mean, it was not so I have no problem with it. But anyway, let's get back to number 9, Joe.
Alrighty, well.
So what was it? What was everybody's thumbs up, thumbs down? What
Huge
was it?
thumbs up. Big thumbs up.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Boo!
Sorry,
I'm
Jerry.
just kidding. Sorry, I didn't expect to get any thumbs up for that one, so I'm pleased. All right, Joe.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that I love Jagged Little Pill. I think she's great for what she does, but I just think that when it comes to the Hall of Fame, it's the greatest of all time that belong in there. That's all.
Fair enough.
But she had a 4-album run, dude. Pretty good.
Well, only really 2, really, and a hit off of that soundtrack. But still, they were huge. I mean,
Yeah. Just
Alrighty.
anyway.
So
All right, so Joe.
my number 9, they are Motorhead and they play rock and roll. I mean, one of the most influential 3-piece bands of all time. That early run with the original classic lineup of Lemmy, Filthy, and Fast Eddie just put out some amazing music, and then how they continued to evolve throughout the 80s, bringing in Robbo and bringing in Pete Gill, and then you bring in Wizzo and Wurzel, that kind of dual guitar attack throughout the late 80s into the early 90s, and then you have that like last classic lineup for almost 30 years of Lemmy and Phil and Mickey. I just think Motorhead's a band. They never made a bad album, and they were just a very consistent band. They never really strayed from what they were good at. They were Motorhead and they played rock and roll, and they were a band that was very influenced by a lot of other bands. They were very influenced by Thin Lizzy. They were very influenced by a lot of these bands that we all worship, and then they in turn influenced so many bands that came after them. I mean, how many people form bands that absolutely worship the ground Lemmy walked on? I mean, Metallica was hugely influenced by Motorhead. All these thrash bands that came after, even though Motorhead, Lemmy claimed up and down, we play rock and roll, they were one of the early thrash metal bands in some cases, and so they were so influential. You ask almost any rock or metal band that came after them to name one of their influences, you're going to hear somebody say Motorhead. And I think that they are easily a band that has both the catalog and the influence to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Who would win a fight, God or Lemmy?
Lemmy is God.
All right. I love that movie.
Yeah, I'm not a big Motorhead fan because I don't listen to them enough, but I know that a lot of people love them. They got a big following around the world, and a big following that still surpasses the life of the band. And so I will give them a thumbs up for their influential work in hard rock and heavy metal.
Definite thumbs up. All right, so that's a clean sweep on the thumbs up there. Andy, you're next.
Yeah, I am going to go with a band that was pretty big in the mid '70s, and they had a string of pretty good albums, but they didn't really materialize that much into the '80s. I think Mark liked them going into the '80s because he's been talking about that lately. I'm talking about Bad Company. They are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think that they were influential in the movement that happened in the late '70s that helped us bring Boston and Journeys and the Foreigners into the limelight and helped that sound, the AOR sound. So that's my pick for number 9 is Bad Company.
Oh man,
Thumbs
I
up.
forgot that band. That fucking sucks. They are my mentions now. There you go.
I'm very lukewarm on them as a band, but I think they're extremely influential. They definitely deserve to be in there.
Just for my 2 cents, and I'll give it a thumbs up. My 2 cents. I think they should do it like they did the Faces and Small Faces. I think they should induct Free / Bad Company.
Yeah.
Because I think really Bad Company was born out of Free too. Really, there's like 2 members from that band. So I think they should combine the 2 of them, with Paul Rogers being like the common thread in there because he's a phenomenal vocalist. I think if they're going to induct them, they should make it a combo, make it Free and Bad Company, because Free influenced Paul Kossoff, man. That guy gets mentioned a lot amongst guitar players as an influence. You know, I mean, Mick Jones himself said that he wrote Hot Blooded based off of All Right Now. That was like an influence of him writing that song. You know, he wanted to do like that kind of that All Right Now riff. So that's when he came up with the Hot Blooded riff and kind of modeling off of that. So I think both of them should be, you know, I agree with you, Andy, but I think if they're going to induct them, I think Free should be included in there too.
I agree with you on that. Free was on my alsos. So
yeah, they did that with Faces and Small Faces. They kind of combined the 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So, and I think that's correct in doing that. You know, because kind of one band's kind of born out of the other. So really, and I'm probably gonna get accused of, like, you know, cheating in class and copying off of Joesph and like Andy over here, because I keep fucking picking what they're picking. But my number 9 is Motorhead as well. If I'm gonna pick a band that, I mean, if you're gonna, all the extreme bands in the '80s, man. I mean, that Motorhead was kind of, they were born out of that, man. You know, whether you could say thrash metal, you could say even death metal, you could say black metal, all of them. You could say punk rock. All that, they're one of the rare bands where punks and metalheads love, man. Like they straddled that fence where like they were respected by both sides. And back then, punks did not like metalers and vice versa. They
big time.
They hated each other, man. But that band earned the respect of both those and influenced like both those genres. So
the hardcore scene in the '80s, you're getting Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and all that stuff.
Yeah. If there's one band that was respected by so many different genres, it's them, man.
Suicidal, yeah.
So I think Motorhead definitely deserves to be in there. I mean, if you're going to induct the Metallicas, if you're ever going to induct Slayer or Megadeth or any of the big 4, I think Motorhead should be in there even before them. So that's my pick. So that's my number 9.
Yep. All right, Mark.
Number 9. Maybe you guys argue with me, but these 2 bands, like you said about Free and Bad Company, should be inducted as one. Joy Division, New Order.
I'll give you a thumbs up.
They are very influential.
Absolutely.
In new wave and key and freaking synth rock.
Post punk.
Regrettably, thumbs up.
Yeah. So
it might not be your thing, man, but like if you really look into that genre, into those bands, dude, that's really like I mean, especially Joy Division.
That's why I'm giving them a thumbs up. That's why I'm giving them a thumbs up, because of that.
And I would even throw Bauhaus in there, but I didn't put them on my list. But they are really good too.
Right. Yeah, if you're gonna put Talking Heads and you're gonna put all these other bands into the Hall of Fame, you have to put Joy Division and New Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with that too. I think both of them should be just Free, Bad Company, same thing. Because New Order was born out of Joy Division.
Division.
So, you know,
because the guy committed suicide, so
Yeah.
they formed New Order out of that band. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. And it influenced all of 80s pop synth rock.
Everything.
Like
man.
your
Depeche Mode and yeah, dude.
Everything.
the Pet Shop Boys. It all came from that sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, easily influential. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with one that's talked about every fucking year, and I do think they do deserve to be in there. And of course, we're talking about Iron Maiden. I mean,
That's
I
pretty
don't
low
see-
on your list.
No, I don't have a list. I'm just reading them in order. I don't really
okay.
have a 1 through 11 list. But with their accomplishments, I think they should be. I mean, I think Priest got kind of what do you call it? I think they got kind of
Backdoored.
They got the participation trophy.
Ironically, they got backdoored.
and have oh god. All right.
Carry on.
But I could see Maiden probably.
Fuck.
I could see Maiden getting in there the same way, maybe someday.
I gotta take a band out
But
now.
I really, I know people think they like Priest better. There's always a big fight on who's better, Priest or Maiden. But I put them pretty much on the same level. If Priest is able to get in there somehow, to me, there's no reason Maiden shouldn't be in there. So,
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Right. Oh yeah, that's a thumb. That's a definite thumbs up, dude.
Yeah, that's a.
I give people a hard time about Iron Maiden, but I still love Iron Maiden. Like, I think they're an overrated band, but I think they definitely deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, they do. They really do.
I mean, do I think they'd give a shit either way? I don't
No.
think so.
They
But
don't.
I don't know. You never know. They might just say that, they might be staying out. I don't know.
They
Well, I don't
hate
know.
America, so they wouldn't
Yeah,
care.
that's true. Yeah. That could be the reason why they're not in there. Who knows? Anyway, Joe, number 8, man.
All right. So, according to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, well, not according to, but if you listen to nothing but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you've been living a lie for the last 20 years because Nirvana was not the band that broke the Seattle scene.
Yep. Absolutely.
Fuck. That should have been on my list.
Faceless came out an entire goddamn year before Nevermind did. They were huge. Man in the Box broke huge. They were playing with thrash bands. They were playing all over the world. They were big. And if you listen to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you'd act like no one knew where Seattle was on a map until Smells Like Teen Spirit came out. I think that it's ridiculous the way that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has pasted over the two heavier of the grunge bands. And I think a huge honorable mention on my list is Soundgarden. I lump them right in there with Alice in Chains. I think they both should be easily in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I'd put them over the other two that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'd easily put them both over Pearl Jam and Nirvana any day of the week. And I think that those two bands.
I wouldn't put them over them, but I would include them in there.
Yeah, I would.
I would fully put them over them.
I wouldn't put Nirvana over Pearl Jam at all.
Oh no, I wouldn't. Well, I probably would put Nirvana over Pearl Jam, but I'd put Alice in Chains and Soundgarden over both of them.
Well, Alice in
I
Chains.
think that as far as influence goes, they were a metal band. Like they were a straight up metal band. And they got lumped in that because they came out of Seattle at the same time as the rest of those bands. Did the same thing with Soundgarden. They were a hard rock band. And they got lumped into that whole scene. And of the bands, they were the ones with the two best vocalists. They had amazing, solid band lineups. Jerry Cantrell is one of the greatest songwriters. Him and Lane were an amazing duo. And then you got Mike holding it down. And you just have, it's amazing. And I think that Alice in Chains, at least Soundgarden's been nominated. To my knowledge, Alice in Chains never has been.
No, they have.
I don't remember Soundgarden being nominated.
They
were
did.
nominated?
They were.
Okay.
They were.
Yeah,
They last year, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a big thumbs up for me because they
yeah.
are on my list later on.
Yeah, I forgot about them, man. And I don't know. They're one of my favorite bands. It's like, fuck, I love that. I love that. I remember going to Tower Records to get the CD and they had a VHS tape of the live show. It's fucking pretty cool. It came in a combo. And then my friend borrowed it and I never got the VHS tape back. Fucking asshole. But
Yesterday I was yesterday. Last year I was appalled when Missy Elliott went in as the first female rapper. But they forgot about this band that broke it open for the ladies of hip hop. Salt and Pepper is what I have at my number 8.
Yeah, I
They're
get that.
not only did they have hit songs, but they made these ladies worked on complete albums and albums that had messages to them, and they looked beautiful doing it, and they looked rough. Well, not rough, but there were tough women that you didn't fuck with, but there were also very beautiful women at the same time. Um, they can sing and rap, and they did it all themselves. And they started in the late '80s, and they really hit it big there in the in the early '90s, when all this big movement in the early '90s, when all this great music was coming out in different genres, being lumped into popular music was great. So, Salt and Pepper's my number 8.
I totally agree with that. Do you hear
I'll give it
Missy
a thumbs
Elliott?
up.
Do you hear Missy Elliott fucking being in Geico commercials going, push it. Push it.
No,
Do you?
she wasn't a Missy Elliott was in a Geico commercial a couple years ago.
But she sucks compared to them. It's like you had
Yeah,
them
but
with
you
Vogue.
just
You
used the
had them
example
with
they were in a Geico commercial.
Which-
Missy Elliott herself was literally in a Geico
Oh,
commercial.
I forgot about that one. But you had fucking them with In Vogue with What a Man. They kept reinventing themselves. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah, every album was a step forward.
It was. They never sounded the same. I agree with that, man.
All
Thumbs
right.
up.
So, Al.
All right, my number 8, man. It's the second in a trilogy of the prog rock kind of pillars. And I absolutely did not like this band when I was younger. I didn't get them, didn't want to listen to them as a metalhead. I was like, fuck that, man. But as I've gotten older, I've really come to appreciate it. And I really like them a lot. I actually love them. Now I can like kind of put on their album and fucking one of their albums and really kind of like sink into it, man. And that's Jethro Tull. And they brought that kind of Baroque classical thing a little bit different than ELP did, but they kind of almost a Renaissance kind of Baroque kind of quality into like progressive rock. I know Ian Anderson doesn't like to think of himself as like a prog rock guy, but they definitely had fucking progressive albums in the 70s and with concepts and all sorts of that stuff. So, and they were like massive in the 70s too, man. I mean, they were fucking playing arenas and packing them out, and they were selling a lot of records, man. They were a big fucking huge band, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, you still hear Locomotive Breath and Alcohol on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had hits on the radio and
even Farm on the Freeway here sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm, Teacher, you hear that one. I love that song. And I think, and honestly, man, I think they had a big influence on metal, man. Like
obviously Metallica.
Let's go bring that up.
They won the best metal Grammy, of course.
Well,
I'm just
yeah, that's one of the big fucking hiccups but being the Grammys, that doesn't surprise me anyway.
Right.
See, I think that single-handedly is what's keeping them out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it would be such a huge joke. Because it's like they're such an inbred organization with the Grammys, like they're also inbred with each other. Yeah. Like that would be all anyone would talk about, would be that.
Yeah. But ask Iron Maiden, ask a lot of those fucking I'm Sabotage, all them fucking bands, and they'll say Jethro Tull is an influence, man, and you can hear it. That dude, fucking Steve Harris worships fucking, and Bruce Dickinson, they all worship like Jethro Tull. They've covered them and all that stuff. So I think Jethro Tull, I think they deserve to be in there, man. I think they pioneered a lot of the prog rock in the 70s. So
yeah, definite thumbs up from me.
Yep, me too.
Oh wow, am I going to be the only dick here tonight? I'm so sorry.
I guess so.
I just thumbs down for me. I just never liked them for some reason. I've got several of their albums, and I tried.
But even if you don't, I mean, there's some bands that I don't like, but you don't think from what their body of work and what they've done deserve to be there, even if you're not a fan of them.
Yeah, like they're not my favorite band, but I can hear the influence.
Yeah.
Well, now
Okay.
that y'all put it that way, so
Andy,
I
you're a
love this
dick.
guy.
Andy's
love
a
this
dick.
guy.
That's it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta be nice at work all day, so I come home and I'm
Me
But take it
too.
out on us.
Fair
You know how
point.
many people I
Fair
want to go
point.
off on at work? God damn.
I came up with
Especially the guest asking us for 2-for-1 corn dogs. All right, go ahead.
All right.
No,
I'm done with mine. So go ahead.
Mark, I work at a Civil War battlefield all day. I get some real interesting people.
No, you don't get somebody complaining
Dude,
about
that's gotta be
prices.
kind of fun though, dude. Come
Oh
on.
no,
I
it's
know,
great.
I love
It's
cool stuff.
it's great. I love it until you get people
Yeah.
that come in and start asking why they're tearing the Confederate statues down.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
God,
I
never
get
mind.
that
I
one.
won't get into that.
Let's not
Yeah.
get into that. But my number 8, I think this is another highly influential band. The Smiths. I think
Yep.
the Smiths should be in there.
I give
Morrissey,
that
Johnny
thumbs
Marr.
up.
I love this fucking band. I remember my mom just fucking went off on me on listening to this and The Cure. And she go, "Why are you listening to these people? They're monotonous. They're monotone singers." They fucking rule. I love them, Mom. I fucking love the Smiths and The Cure. The Cure is in there, but the Smiths isn't, and they should be in there with them. That's just my opinion.
I'm not a
You see
fan
the-
of them at all, but I'll give them a thumbs up for what they've done. Absolutely.
You see, I'm not a fan of the Smiths at all, and I've tried. I bought albums and I sold them, but I believe they are highly influential in the Brit pop rock movement that became big in the '90s.
Absolutely.
And that's because of the Smiths. So
So I'll give a thumbs up, even though I think they're influential in a really bad way.
Well, yeah, Oasis.
I
thank
hate
you.
what
No,
they,
I'm joking.
I hate what they spawned. I hate them and I hate what they spawned. So I'll give them a thumbs up because they are very influential, even though I hate what they influenced.
Right.
But I think that they were very popular and they were very influential, but I just hate everything about them and hate what they influenced.
Kind of like the emo kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that now.
They definitely influenced that.
They were like the premier shoegazing music.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
But I think Morrissey was more honest though than those people were. That's just me with his lyrics.
Sure, I still don't like it.
he had a sarcasm to him too, which was
which
it was like an underlying kind of. It was like if you really because I'll just get it out of the way now. They're on my list too, and that was a band I actually like. A friend of mine introduced me to them. A friend of mine in the '80s in high school, he was like very into. It wasn't called alternative back then, but it was called modern rock and things like that, you know. And Smiths was one of the bands that he loved, and he tried to introduce me to them, and I just fucking did not get them at all, dude. I was like, "What's this guy whining about?" But when later on, I've come to appreciate them, and they're still not in heavy rotation. I don't play them all the time, but once in a while, a mood strikes me where let me put on a Smiths album, man. And I really read into the lyrics, man. And Morrissey really, he had a fucking way. Like it was like there was like a humor angle. If you really kind of read into it, there's like some humorous shit in there, you know. Like I don't know, he was a pretty damn good lyricist, man. I'll give you that, man. You know. So anyway, go ahead.
Your cat is stealing the show, man.
Yeah,
your cats are fighting back there.
Yeah, it's fine, man.
Oh no! I screwed myself out, so I'm gonna put it back.
All
right, man. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mark.
Oh, I'm done.
All right.
Anyway, this is a band that definitely owes a part of their career to this band. I think the biggest problem is that they didn't really break through in America, but they were huge elsewhere, man, Europe and all that. I'm talking about Slade, man. I mean, they were very heavily influenced on glam. There were early, a lot of glam bands were influenced by Slade. But like I said, they weren't really breaking through in America. I think that's probably why. I mean, they had that one album,
like black and
Run Away,
in the black and white.
That was like the big
like black and
Run Away,
Run Away.
And My Oh My, what a fucking! If you heard that song, My Oh My, that's just a beautiful
track.
fucking song.
Love that song.
Yeah, didn't I play that for you one time?
Oh, just Naughty Holder's voice is just fucking amazing, dude. definitely Kevin DeBro sounding in a way. You can see
Yes.
they do have a similar sound to their voice. But I really enjoyed their music, man. I thought they were fun, and they spelled every word wrong in their song titles on purpose to make it. I don't know. It was their thing, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I think they deserve to be in there because I think their body of work is, and they have influenced a lot of bands out there. So I don't know what you guys think about Slade, but I definitely think they belong.
I give it a thumbs up.
Well, Jerry, even more influential than that. What was the name of their first live album?
Oh shit! They have like 3, don't they?
Was it Slade?
Slade, S-L-A-Y. Oh,
Slade.
Kiss.
Oh, it was alive, right?
No, was it?
It was.
Slade.
I thought it was
Alive.
Slade, S-L-A-E-D, like Al said.
No, that's an
Oh,
album,
okay.
I think.
It was alive before
I'm
Kiss
trying
was
to
alive.
think. They had 3, I believe, live albums. I can't remember fucking any of them.
That was where Kiss got the title of Alive from.
Yeah, like I said, that Kiss was very influenced by Slade, especially Ace. I mean, So anyway, I think they deserve to be there. I mean, so I don't know what you guys think, but that's a thumbs up for me. It's my pick, of course.
I'll give it a thumbs up because they're
yeah.
they're very very influential on the glam, even on the glam metal scene in the 80s.
Yeah.
They love them.
Yeah.
So-
I think Poison liked them too, right?
the first heavy metal album to go #1 was because of a Slade cover.
Yeah, a lot of bands covered, like Quiet Riot did. Mark's favorite band, Brittany Fox, covered
Fuck you.
Goodbye to Jane.
That's yours.
Yeah. So
don't ever diss me with Brittany Fox. That's fucked up.
Anyway, what everybody thumbs up or thumbs down? I didn't see it.
Thumbs
Sorry.
up.
All right, cool.
I got a thumbs up. I don't know about Andy though.
Go ahead, dude. Do it.
Be the dick.
Just skip me on that one. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was going to be the only dick around here, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I got some doozies coming up, man. So
I'm not the biggest guy, and I just didn't see the influential of them. But that's me.
I think that, like, you're right. I think their biggest drawback was they did not make it in the States. I mean,
you see, I didn't follow them that well, and I do have a Slade album, or is it Sweet? I always got the two mixed up, Sweet and Slade.
That's another band too.
And actually, that album they released with Run One Away was actually released in England a few years ago before they re-released it in the States.
In England, it was The Amazing Kamikaze Syndrome,
right.
And in America, it was Give Me Back My Get Your Hands Off My Power Supply.
My Power Supply, right? Yep. So they're just trying to get a breakthrough in America as much as they could. With moderate success with that album, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But okay, that's my number 8. Let's go number 7, Joe.
Alrighty, so this is a band that we have been discussing a lot lately, particularly me, because they are one of my all-time favorite bands, and I think they have an insanely solid discography. They were very popular. They still have songs you hear on the radio. And if you are a band that influenced one of the most famous SNL sketches of all time, you should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Fuck, I forgot about this band.
Because we always need more cowbell.
If Bruce Dickinson wants more cowbell, you're gonna give him
If Bruce Dickinson wants more
man.
cowbell. Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, Don't Fear the Reaper is one of the most famous songs of all time. You hear it on the radio probably every day. It's in the movie Halloween. It influenced the more cowbell sketch. You hear Godzilla, you hear Burning for You. I hear Cities on Flame on the radio. I mean,
I like that one.
They might not have the commercial success in necessarily that a lot of other bands might have, but they were a huge live band. They were constantly touring. They were road dogs. I think they were extremely influential in a lot of bands. I mean, Ghost practically owes their entire career to Blue Oyster Cult. There's a lot of bands that really owe a lot to Blue Oyster Cult that came afterwards, that just like that kind of like weird, like kind of nerdy sci-fi like rock. I think they're extremely influential. I think they have the catalog to back it up. And they're another band that I don't think has ever even been considered.
No, I don't think they've ever been considered, but I will give them a thumbs up because they are better than a lot of bands that are already in there. That they're better than.
Yeah, the quality of work of them that they have.
Yeah, album after album after album.
It's like I don't like complete albums by them, but I like a lot of songs. They'll make like 4 or 5 albums by them.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they are really good, but it's just like complete albums don't get it for me, but I can make a huge playlist that'll make 5 albums. So pretty good.
I posted on Facebook yesterday. I finally got the remaster.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Heaven forbid in the mail. I had to pay like $35 and get it imported from Germany, but I finally tracked it down.
Yeah,
So it sounds great. I played it on my car ride to work today. It's the Frontiers remaster, and it sounds great. But we'll always call it.
Cool.
All right, Al.
Does that you complete
Andy,
your
I'm sorry.
Does that complete your discography on them?
No, I'm still miss. I don't have the one after Curse of the Hidden Mirror. I don't have that one.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think I have Imaginos either.
All right, Andy.
Okay. I am the only one that has been producing thumbs down, but I think this band is going to produce 2 of them in this round. They're a band that I love. They were influential in the 90s, and they're still out there today. I'm talking about Weezer. I believe Weezer belongs to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I knew that was coming from you.
They are. I think they are.
That was a great episode.
So that is my pick, is Weezer. I think
I'm gonna have to do one.
I don't think they've influenced shit.
Andy, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not trying to dick back to you, but man,
yeah, man, that's fine.
I'm gonna have to give that.
And I like Weezer too.
And
but,
dude, that dude's a fucking amazing guitar player, dude.
I will give him that. I will give him that. I will give him that.
I was impressed. He was getting interviewed by somebody on YouTube. I can't remember what it was.
He was interviewed by Chris Shiflett it's in the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
But he was
talking
fucking
about,
just
and they were talking about Ingve, bro, and he fucking started busting out all these Ingve licks.
I know. I was like,
he seems like a really cool dude. I just hate his music.
Yeah. I mean, like, where did that come from?
Well, he was a shredder in the 80s when he was coming out.
They were a hair band before they became Weezer.
That totally blew my fucking mind. It gave me more respect for him as a musician because
he loves all those bands.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he does. So that's my pick. I knew that it was going to produce some thumbs down. But,
and I don't hate Weezer. I like that, man, but it's not. I don't know about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthiness, but I don't know, man. I won't fucking be mad if they do get in. No, I mean,
I can actually see them getting in a few years for some reason. I
could
see it
too.
Actually. Yeah,
they'll probably get in.
Good.
All right.
All right. So my number 7. My number 7.
Sorry, Andy.
No.
All right, my number 7, and I honestly I could have put him higher. I mean, yeah, the whole rank thing is just kind of like whatever, man. But I mean, just the guy that popularized this, Ronnie James Dio. I absolutely think he deserves to be in there. What he did with Rainbow, Sabbath, and his solo career. I mean, look at the early albums of each band that he was in. Like fucking the best shit, bro. It was like, Rainbow was like the second and third, but like the first 2 Sabbath albums, and then his first 2 solo albums. He went
on like a perfect 6-album run.
6-album run, dude. Like
rising through last in line.
Yeah, dude.
That's actually kind of a travesty. He's never been nominated.
Even with Black Sabbath, he should have been in there with Black Sabbath. Man.
Yeah, but that's a Sharon thing. So, but yeah, I absolutely think he's massively influential in the metal world and as a vocalist and all that. I think he deserves to be in there. And longevity. I mean, the guy fucking started in the 50s, man.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not even going to give a thumb. Just straight up.
Yeah, I'll give him.
Give him this.
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments from M3 this weekend when Dee Snider was out on stage. He said, "I'm gonna give all of y'all a lesson because I've seen a lot of messed up shit here this weekend. I don't care what Gene Simmons says. It ain't this. Ronnie James Dio gave us the horns, baby. This is what it is."
Yeah.
If Gene Simmons could fucking trademark air, he would fucking do it, man. I'm telling you.
Right. Yeah, but definitely. And and maybe if he would be like an Alan Parsons. Even if the band Dio doesn't get in there, he should get in there as a vocalist of one of the most premier vocalists in a whole genre of hard rock.
Well, like Randy Rhoads did as a guitar player.
Yeah.
He should be in there like a vocalist.
That'd be interesting. He would. I guess his wife would probably induct him. Probably.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because she's been there since the beginning.
Right.
She's been his rock before and after his life, and still does wonders for his name, I believe.
I can see somebody like as far as inducting him, like I don't know about his wife, like if his wife would induct him. I could see somebody like maybe like Jeff Tate or somebody like that, inducting him.
Knowing the history of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they bring Jack Black out.
Right.
Well, Dio
It would be
did
a
come in
good-
his video for Push.
That's what I mean.
Good deal on that, Joesph. That's good. Yeah, I didn't think about it. Yeah, that'd be actually that'd probably be pretty entertaining induction. Speech, so.
if they bring Tenacious D out to do it.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story about Dio calling Jack Black and he thought he was pissed off about the song Dio and he said, "Hey, you want to be in my video for Push?" And you're like, "What?"
That'd be kind of cool. Actually, you could probably get some of his original bandmates together.
Yeah,
and have like a guest vocalist do a couple.
Well, I don't
of their
think
songs.
Vivian would come, but yeah.
You don't think he would?
I don't
know they
think
didn't
he
get
would.
along.
I don't think he would.
Oh, the last in line was at M3 this weekend. They pissed a lot of people off.
Oh, really? Okay, well maybe not then.
And Andrew Freeman basically started shouting at the crowd for sitting down through the whole show.
Oh wow!
Because it was pouring down, raining, and it was cold, and no one wanted to stand up.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. You done now with yours?
Yeah, I'm done, man. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, Mark.
Well, it's already been brought up. I agree with Andy, the Smashing Pumpkins. So that's my number 7.
Well, this is a band that's been brought up, and you mentioned these guys being liked by every kind of the punk, metal, everybody, and fucking chicks loved Lemmy too. They really did, man.
Chicks love Motorhead.
Fucking Motorhead. My wife fucking loves Lemmy, dude. I mean, sometimes to the point where I have to fucking leave the room, I think. But anyway, but yeah, absolutely. Do I think they're ever going to get in? No. But I would love if they could have made it in. And hell, there's only one of them still alive, and that's Phil, right? The other guitar player, not Worrell, the other one.
Well, there's Phil Campbell and
Mickey D. Both.
Yeah, Mickey D
from the later lineup, but that's sort of classic. They're all gone.
Classic's dead. Yeah.
The whole classic lineup's dead. Wurzel's gone.
Yeah, they're all dead. Yeah,
I think I've seen their name on there. They've been nominated, but not
really,
yet.
Yes, they have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess there's a chance that I don't know.
I think they'll get in eventually.
I think if the right people speak up, they will.
Yeah, right. If Mark, his prediction is right, saying if all these other rockers start getting on the board, we might see a lot more of these.
Listen, if Dave Grohl makes a case for it, they'll get in because
that's true.
Dave loves Lemmy, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame they're up fucking Dave's ass anyway. So
I'm surprised.
Dave was who got Rush in. He's the one that got Rush in.
I'll take my never gonna make it back. I think they do have a chance. I think it's slim, but who knows? Maybe.
But Ozzy just going in now is ridiculous. I thought for sure he would have gone there as a solo artist, and I was shocked to see that he wasn't. I really was shocked.
All right, so I'm done. Let's go with number 6, Joe.
All right, so this is the one on my list where I'm like, these people have no chance of making it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I'm going to be the one that makes the case because I think they are extremely influential. And that's Nazareth. I fully think Nazareth should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you listen to somebody like Axl Rose worshipped the ground that Dan McCafferty walked on. Hugely influential on Guns N' Roses. I mean, Manny Charlton was one of the first guitarists out there using the talk box. They extremely influential in like that, just very like straightforward blues rock. They're extremely influential to a lot of bands that came after them. A lot of bands have cited Nazareth. I mean, you still hear so many of these songs. You still hear Hair of the Dog on the radio all the time. Love Hurts was huge. They had a lot of big hits in the time. A lot of them didn't carry over, unfortunately, to the future generations, but they had a huge amount of hits at the time. They were a huge touring act. I mean, there was a lot of bands that came up that were opening for Nazareth that later became huge bands. And Nazareth never quite broke through that ceiling that a lot of those other bands eventually did that used to be opening for them. And so I think that they are a band that is very unsung in their influence and has a really solid discography. And I think that they have a lot of influence on particularly a lot of bands that came out in the late 80s that really brought the blues rock back into the forefront in the late 80s. Bands like Cinderella and a lot of the bands coming out of LA. So bands like LA Guns and a lot of those bands owed pretty much their entire career to a band like Nazareth, who was really at the forefront of just straight ahead blues rock in the 70s. And I fully anticipate that this is not a band that people are going to say, oh, they definitely should be in the Rock and Roll Fame.
I love Nazareth, but I don't think they're going to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't think either.
And it's not. That's not a lack. That's not a knock on them. I love them. I think they're a great band. I mean, they kind of, to me, they kind of had that AC/DC quality to them, and AC/DC's already in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't see Nazareth being a Hall of Fame band, dude.
Oh, I don't either. But I'm just saying that this is a band that I would.
Yeah, no, I get it, man.
Hall of Fame. Yeah.
I mean, they're great, man. I deep dove into them not that long ago, and I'm shocked like I didn't get into them earlier, man.
Yeah, I think it was Joe that actually told me to go deep dive into them, I think. And I was very pleasantly surprised. And just on that and their body of work, how I became a huge fan of them.
Yeah, McCaffrey, man.
Definitely. Yeah. I'll give them definitely a thumbs up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Mark and Al. I don't think that they had.
I don't think they have the clout to make it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Of a backing. I just don't think they'd have that to get in. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And for people, and I just want you to know, when I'm giving a thumbs down, it's not because I think y'all's picks are shitty. It's just that I don't think that they have the clout to make it to be enshrined as one of the greatest. That's all.
I'm not going to cry when I get off. Well, I probably will cry afterwards, but I'm not going to cry.
I want to be invited back.
Always, come on.
That's why we invite you, man. We need some people, some dissenting votes.
Who's next, Andy?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Andy.
This has already been mentioned, and I kind of added to it, but I'm going to go with Mariah Carey. I think she was hugely big in the 90s. And if Whitney is in there, and if Janet's in there, and Madonna's in there, she's the missing link. So, Mariah Carey.
Al.
Yeah, my number 6 is one that Mark mentioned already, and it's the Smiths. So I think, even though they're my big cup of tea or whatever, and I've come to appreciate some of their stuff in recent years, I think they were very influential on, and Joe said, okay, you might not like it, but they were massively influential, and for me, on the whole indie scene, the indie kind of scene that came in into the 90s. Because to me, they were kind of one of those first kind of indie bands, dude. That had that indie sensibility to them. So, and I like Johnny Marr as a guitar player, man. I think he was very inventive. He filled out a space in a one guitar band that kind of almost like the Edge of U2, like things like that. You might not like them, but when you hear it, you know who it is, man. He definitely has a style that it's like recognizable. So with that kind of jangly guitar kind of style, which in turn REM really kind of was the kind of American version of that almost. The whole indie scene in America from them, much like the Smiths came out of Manchester, and they influenced that whole Manchester scene in Britain, Britpop, which would eventually become Britpop. I think they kind of paralleled each other. I like REM better, just my personal taste, but the Smiths have a lasting kind of influence too. I mean, there's been clamorings for them to fucking reunite for years and years, man, and they just won't do it, so they had I think they only had like a 4-album run, and that was really it. They were done, and that's it. So, but that's my pick. Number 6 is the Smiths. So I won't dwell on them longer. Right. Go ahead, Mark.
Mark, did somebody already say Soundgarden? I don't think anybody said Soundgarden.
I mentioned them with Alice in Chains.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that last album they put out, King Animal's fucking amazing. I know they recorded like a lot of new material for a new album. They finally got rights to release it. I'm kind of interested to what Chris Cornell's last album's gonna sound like. I hope it's fucking good, Because that King Animal is fucking, I've been away for
Great
too
album, man.
long.
Yeah.
Fucking great fucking album. So fucking they went out. They had never had a bad album. Fucking great band. They should be in there.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Thumbs
Big
up for
thumbs
me.
up.
Yeah,
Definitely
thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, my next pick is Thin Lizzy. We've talked about them a little bit. I do think they deserve to be in it. I wasn't too big of a fan of their 80s stuff because I think Phil was pretty much, on his last, he was under the influence a lot, I guess. I just didn't really like their 80s stuff, but there's no denying their 70s stuff was awesome. They definitely deserve to be in there. So that's my pick for number 6.
Wait, who is it?
Joe.
Who is it?
Thin Lizzy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
They didn't really have much 80s stuff anyway.
Thunder and Lightning. Thunder and Lightning
Yeah,
is one of my favorite Thin Lizzy
Yeah,
albums.
really?
Yeah.
That's the one we reviewed, right, Mark? Yeah.
Thunder and Lightning?
The one with
we
Cold Sweat
reviewed
on
that
it.
one.
I
The
don't
one with
remember.
Cold Sweat on
Oh,
it.
we did? I don't
With
remember.
John Sykes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we did.
But yeah, there's just something, I don't know, different about those albums to me. But anyway,
I know
that's
that
my
I did that on Black Spinner probably about a month ago. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
in March.
Mhm.
And that was a really good episode, and it really opened up my eyes to how powerful that album really is.
Well, when
Especially-
you got a guy like Butch Jones on the show, dude, that waves that Thin Lizzy flag,
Yeah.
it's hard not to be influenced by him,
Mhm.
because he lives
Yeah.
and breathes Thin Lizzy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I started thinking in that show, I was like, maybe Thin Lizzy is my favorite band of all time.
Yeah. You almost come away like, wow,
Yeah.
dude, it's like so that was one of my favorite episodes, man. I had a lot of fun in that episode.
Yeah.
So
All right, Andy, man, number 5, dude.
Don't skip
Oh,
me.
Joe.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry, my bad.
I always hate when really elitist prog people say that no good classic prog came out of America. Bullshit. Kansas. I mean, I think they are one of the
Andy,
most...
we already heard that.
What'd you say?
Andy on Kansas on prog rock is a whole argument we had for a while.
Oh yeah. Well, they are. I mean, they're insanely talented group of musicians that were writing American prog rock, and that was heartland rock. I mean, like Midwestern sensibilities with the violin and the amazing guitar playing and keyboards, and Philly Hart's an amazing drummer, and Steve Walsh on vocals, and Robbie Steinhardt, and it's just that run of albums that they had in the 70s was just absolutely phenomenal. They were huge. Carry On Wayward Son was a huge hit. Dust in the Wind was everywhere. They still are. You still hear Kansas on the radio all the time. And I think they were extremely
what is the Winchester's theme?
Hmm?
Winchester's from Supernatural.
Oh yeah, Carry On Wayward Son.
There you go.
That's the greatest hits album I think everybody owns, I think. Is
Oh,
that
100%. That Kansas Greatest Hits album?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The one, yeah, that. Where's it? That one.
Yep.
yeah,
That's probably my first Kansas album, actually.
that was my first Kansas album.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are extremely influential on a lot of American bands that came after them. They proved that you don't have to be British to be prog, or 3 guys from Canada. But I think they are a band that has never really gotten their due from the kind of upturned nose prog fans. And they're huge in America, and they still tour all the time. They do big shows still. And I think they're extremely influential. And I think they really just are a band that never got their due from the higher ups in the music business.
Yeah,
I'll give the thumbs up for me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love Kansas, and I think that them being from America and throwing themselves into that prog rock, that was mainly English bands, but that they did it anyway, and they put their own twist in it as well. So yeah, Kansas. Yeah.
All right, Andy. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
this guy's already been in there twice in different ways, but he's not in there this way. He's already in there. No, he's in there 3 times. He's in there as a solo artist and with 2 different bands. but Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse with Neil Young is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No.
Buffalo Springfield is. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young is, which I don't think they should be, and Neil Young solo, but not Neil Young and Crazy Horse. So that's my vote, is for Neil Young and Crazy Horse. I know that it's kind of controversial because he's already in there, but Neil Young and Crazy Horse is a whole different beast compared to what
I think I think everyone just kind of like lumps it in as the same thing, even though it's not. Like,
I'll give that the thumbs up.
I fully support it.
Yeah.
But I think everyone just assumes, well, if Neil Young's solo career is in there, then Neil Young and Crazy Horse is part of that.
Right.
And they're not, actually.
They're not. No, they're not.
Right. Because the band members of Crazy Horse are not in there, and they were very important to that sound.
Yeah.
I mean they are the sound. So that's why I put them in there. So Neil Young and Crazy Horse.
All right, Al.
But I wouldn't put them in there by themselves. They're going to have to bring a Neil Young name with them.
All right, man. My number 5 is a band that came out in the 80s, but kind of defined what the 90s became with the whole Lollapalooza thing and all that. I remember being a metalhead in high school and hearing this band. They were heavy enough for me to really be into it. And I heard the singer, very artsy, kind of poetic, kind of thing. And I'm like, the combining of the two heavy guitars with that kind of intrigued me in a way. And they went on to fucking, they broke up in the 90s, but then that influence kind of lasted through the whole thing. And I think they spearheaded the whole alternative rock scene of the 90s, and that's Jane's Addiction. I think they were pioneering in that whole thing, man, and that sound into the 90s. So that's my pick. I mean, I think they were massively influential, man. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel that way.
Thumbs up.
I'll call it the Sex Pistols principle.
Oh God.
I personally
2 albums.
I personally cannot stand Jane's Addiction. I think they were extremely influential. The 2 albums part was why I call it the Sex Pistols principle. They had a tiny career, but were very influential past that.
Right.
And I definitely think they should be in. I can't stand them personally. I think Dave Navarro is a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Like, I am not a fan of their music. But I do definitely think that their influence they should be.
Yeah, to me, they're a typical Hall of Fame band, in my opinion. So yeah, absolutely.
3 days.
I mean, if I never hear Been Caught Stealing ever again in my life, I would fucking be happy.
Dude, 3 days fucking rules.
And Jane Says, there's songs that I just wasn't a huge
There's
fan
so
of
many
them,
deep trick, even on Strays, they had the theme song to Entourage on there. Fucking great song.
Yeah, I haven't never deep dived.
Just off of Nothing Shocking, though, I think like they should be in there. I mean, if the Sex Pistols, if GNR can be in based on the debut, then they absolutely should be in.
I love the second album just as much as Nothing Shocking, though.
Yeah. The first 2 albums,
man.
Yeah. And the thing is that if Guns N' Roses are in there because of Appetite for Destruction, when that genre was already there, it's not like Guns N' Roses influenced anything. But when it comes to Jane's Addiction, they opened up the doors to that sound, to that genre. I mean, pretty much kicked down the door of what was rock radio, brought it into the mainstream because of the music. So
I think what Guns N' Roses did, though, is just kind of reintroduce the danger element in rocking, because it was kind of lacking. It wasn't really. It was getting a bit slick, and it kind of brought it back down to a street level again.
Yes,
much like punk did in the 70s, and when things were getting very bloated, punk comes out and kind of makes all these bands kind of rethink. I mean, after Guns N' Roses, man, all the teased up hair started coming back down.
Yeah.
All the hairspray started leaving, man. Even though they look glammy on that first video, especially Axl, but they kind of made, I think, bands kind of rethink their approach a little bit. So I think I disagree with you a little bit on the whole influence thing. I think they did influence a lot of the rock bands after that. But as far as bringing something new into it, yeah, they just kind of brought the thing back down to a street level again, much like the Stones, like things like that. You know what I mean? So that's just an argument I have with GNR.
Yeah.
I mean, that first album was just so fucking massive.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned how back down in the streets Appetite was, and then what did they do? They became slick on the next album.
Yeah, they became bloated and fucking
exactly. That's a
curse of like pretty much every band that gets successful, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's why just Sex Pistols was one and done, and they never fucking did anything else ever again. They didn't get a chance to become bloated and all that shit.
Right.
Hey, you guys ever get tired? Because they've been at it like for over 2 hours, just going at it.
I know. Oh, these two?
Yeah. They don't stop
when it gets.
I think they're playing.
When it gets late at night, man, it's like the witching hour for that, man.
Yeah. Okay,
anyway, I'm done. I don't know.
All right.
What was I talking about? Jane's Addiction, right? Go ahead, Mark.
Mark, I'm gonna agree with Joesph on Kansas. Kansas fucking rules, and I could listen to Kansas every day and twice on Sundays. It's just like the band never gets boring. None of their songs get boring to me. And they should come on. Them and Electric Light Orchestra. I compare them to Electric Light Orchestra with the fucking fiddles and shit. Why the fuck aren't they in there? I think they're better than Electric Light Orchestra, in fact. And I love Electric Light Orchestra.
I love ELO is.
Yeah, they're in.
ELO is in there. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
ELO is in there. I think it's just like Jeff and Bev.
I think George Harrison's son inducted them, if I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I like Kansas better than ELO.
I do too. That's what I'm saying. Kansas is my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is. I don't know how you would put these guys in there if they ever were nominated, but their first 2 fucking albums are 2 of the best 1-2 fucking punches in rock history, and I'm talking about Boston. I mean, I don't know how they would if you put Tom in there as an engineer, or I think there's only just Barry Goodrow and Fran Sheehan are the only 2 people in that lineup that are still alive. But I don't know how you would do it, or if Tom Scholz would even agree to do it. I don't know. But based on their body of work, absolutely they should be in the Hall of Fame. Just for their first 3 albums, in my opinion. I do like Third Stage. So what do you guys think about Boston being in there?
I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah. I don't know how you would do it though. I don't know how they would go in. That's weird.
It's not only it's for me, just to put my 2 cents in there. I didn't pick them in my list, but I agree with you that they should be in there. It's not only the quality of the album and every song's basically a FM rock radio hit, off that first album. It's the actual sound and the engineer and the way Tom Scholz came up with that whole concept, the whole guitar sound. I mean, when that album came out, so many guitar players' ears perked up. How the fuck did he get that sound? How the fuck, dude? So many people were after that Boston sound. After that, man, it's just, I mean, just on that as well as the great songs that's on the album, I think they should be in there.
Yeah,
because Tom Scholz himself is like he's an innovator with recording and all that stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking Rockman, man, that thing was cool. I had one of those, man.
I wish I got one back in the day, man.
Yeah. They're actually they're not too expensive on eBay nowadays. I mean, you can still pick one up pretty cheap.
Like we said, if the Sex Pistols can get in off Nevermind the Bollocks.
Yeah.
Like
even their next album, Don't Look Back.
But like even if we're just talking about
good.
Oh yeah, but if we're talking about like one album that's like insanely influential, it's one of the most influential albums of all time. Yeah. So
it's like one of those albums. That's another album that everybody fucking in the world owns, I think. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's mine. Let's go.
It smells like Teen Spirit riff.
Yep.
Anyway,
all right, Joe. Number 4.
Alrighty. So my number 4 is the greatest thing to ever come out of the country of Germany, and that is the Scorpions.
Oh shit!
I never thought about them.
I didn't even think about them.
And I mean,
I give that a thumbs up already.
Oh, right.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's just with the eras of the the early stuff with Uli, which was very German, like the krautrock, like very like what was going on in Germany at the time. And then you move into the late 70s with like Taken by Force is starting to get a little bit more of like a worldwide audience. And then you have Tokyo Tapes, and then you get the Matthias era, and Love Drive just really kicks it into an entire new stratosphere of like popularity. And you give that run of Love Drive, Animal Magnetism, Blackout, and Love at First Sting, which I feel like they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on that 4-album run by itself, much less anything else that they ever did. And I think that I mean, for a band that was headlining stadiums for years and still headlines big shows all over the world, and insanely influential to a lot of bands.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
no, I'm just gonna say, I was just gonna add on that I think like when I think of international bands, they're one of the biggest, bro.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah.
They're beloved in Japan, South America, Europe. I mean, everywhere in the world, people know the fucking Scorpions, man. And I just think of when an international known band, they are right up there. They're one of them.
Oh
man.
yeah, and they're another one like Motorhead. Chicks dig the Scorpions.
Yeah, they do.
Chicks dig the Scorpions.
Just watch Worldwide Live DVD.
And they were a big influence on an 80s metal, man. You know,
yeah.
So
even before that, Uli John Roth is one of the most influential guitarists, I believe, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he influenced like Yngwie and all that stuff that came after.
Yeah. And the reason why I did not give a thumbs up, because that's my next one. Scorpions. Easily. I love them. Like y'all were saying, they were influential from the beginning. They changed their sound and they were even bigger. And like Al said, they're known throughout the world. And easily Worldwide Live is one of the greatest double live albums of all time.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, because they're fantastic.
One of my favorite concert DVDs ever released, Scorpions Live at Vok in 06.
Yeah. I used to have Worldwide Live on Laserdisc.
Wow.
Laserdisc.
I still have a Laserdisc player, man.
I know you do. Mine got stolen.
And in fact, I picked this up over the weekend.
Oh, look at that,
nice. The best
early, from their early 70s stuff. There's the cover. You can see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, I even like the songs that Yuli would sing. I think he was a different singer.
Hellcat
and kind of a punkish kind of sound too when he would sing the lead. So,
listen to Dark Lady. Love that stuff.
Yeah. So that's why they're badass. I love the Scorpions. And in fact, a fun fact about myself, that was one of the first bands that got me into that hard rock, heavy metal sound, because in 82, I was 8. That's when Blackout came out, and I loved the Blackout. And then the videos, and then I loved Still Loving You. They would play it on the radio. That was one of the songs that I remember recording onto a cassette tape from the radio, and I would mimic that song. I loved that song, and I still do. I think Claus has a beautiful voice. It's awesome. So
instantly recognizable, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he still sounds like that. It's so weird that him and Dill are short guys with big voices.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Yeah.
No, I'm up. I think right.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My number 4, man. I mean, they spearheaded the whole fucking Sunset Strip scene, and it's Motley Crue, dude. If you're gonna put a band in that influenced the whole hair metal, everything, man, that's the one band you got to put in, man, because they spearheaded that whole scene. I mean, they came out in 81, and so many bands like followed in their foot. They kicked the door down for a lot of that hair metal. I don't like to call it the Sunset Strip scene, the glam metal scene in the 80s. So they were completely they took that Kiss mold of the 70s, kind of made it their own, and with the stage shows. And I mean, you can't fucking deny those first 2. I like to go to the third album too. I'm a big fan of Theater of Pain as well. So I love the first 3 albums. you know, and based on those alone, you know, I mean, Theater of Pain, every band after that had to have a power ballad on their fucking album, you know, because of Home Sweet Home. You know, I mean, just massively influential, dude. I think Motley Crue. Whether, even though I hate them now, you can't deny that early.
Yeah. Based off their first three, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even say the first three. I'd say the second and the third. I think the first album is ass. But
that seems to be getting shit on a lot in the post in the group split. Yeah, I don't know why. I love that album.
I love that album too. Come on and dance. I keep saying that.
I don't think it sounds anything like what they became.
That album is kind of an anomaly in their discography. They were, that's a very power fucking pop kind of influence. Even though it's punkish, definitely very raw, dude. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. It's very raw. That's what I love about it.
It's a demo, basically.
Also, Motley Crue is a band that I don't think ever made two albums that sounded the same. Ever.
Girls, and Dr. Feelgood sounded the same to me.
No, because Girls had that awful like Pointer Sisters on the background on every song, and like the hitting garbage cans and stuff, and
Pointer Sisters. What's wrong with the Pointer Sisters, man?
Dancing.
That's my number 4, though. So if I go ahead,
it doesn't matter what they are now, what they did.
Yeah. Well, you guys already mentioned Motorhead, so Motorhead's my number 4. They rule. And fucking Lemmy, even if he doesn't get in with Motorhead, fucking great songwriter. He wrote with Ozzy on a lot of fucking songs, man.
Absolutely, man.
The fucking Lemmy should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If they don't even put Motorhead, put Lemmy in the fucking
He's his own institution, man.
Oh, yeah. And one thing you never hear people talk about, Lemmy is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. Lemmy's lyrics are insanely good. I mean, just like, look at some of like the title track on Orgasmatron, like I am the one Orgasmatron, the outstretched grasping hand, like just it's so badass. Like who wrote songs like that?
Hash browns and bacon bits. I love the way that you lick your lips. Yeah, some cool shit.
Eat Greek or eat Chinese.
Eat the rich.
Yeah. So it's my turn.
Yep.
I think Andy mentioned them. I don't know if anybody else did. I can't remember, but Bad Company. And I kind of like Al's idea of putting Free and Bad Company together. That's kind of interesting.
That was a good idea.
But you know, I mean, it was Simon Kirke and Paul that was in Free, right? Or was it?
Yeah.
I mean, Boz and fucking Nick Rouse were awesome. Additions to
of course.
So I don't know. I like that idea, but I don't think. Maybe that would work. I don't know how they would do that again either, but I wouldn't mind if they went in that way. So I would agree with that and actually go along with it. So yeah, I mean, but anyway, we talked about Bad Company. That's my number 4. Number 3, Joe.
Alrighty, so my number 3 on my number 11. When I was talking about Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, I said that one of these people would be revisited higher on my list, and my number 3 is, in my opinion, the most challenging progressive rock band to come out of that period, and that is King Crimson. Another one that I have no idea how they've never even been brought up in this conversation, but so influential and like throughout different periods of time and different lineups. And you have that early stuff with Greg Lake, where In the Court of the Crimson King, I think, is one of, if not the most influential prog albums of all time. It really kind of started all of that. All those bands that came afterwards came out of In the Court of the Crimson King. And then you have the trio, the quartet trio period in 73 and 74 with Lark's Tongue and Starless and Red. That is just an amazing run of albums. You get John Wetton and Bill Bruford. And then you have the Discipline era in the early 80s when you bring in Tony Levin and you bring in Adrian Belew, and you still have Bruford, and then just the genius of Robert Fripp through all of that. And I think that, just like I said, throughout so many different periods, they were influential to so many different kinds of bands. And you hear all these different bands citing King Crimson. Dream Theater, King Crimson was one of their biggest influences. All these prog bands that came afterwards took so much from King Crimson. and I don't think that they're a band that has not really gotten their due in the mainstream nearly as much as a lot of other bands. You hear Yes, and you hear Genesis, and you hear a lot of these other bands getting a lot more due, and I think it's because they're more accessible to the general public than King Crimson is. You're not going to hear really a King Crimson song on the radio, but I think musically they are one of the most talented, most challenging groups that really spearheaded that scene. That you wouldn't have any of these bands if not for King Crimson.
Yep. Oh, I give a thumbs up on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Jerry, what was your pick? I missed it.
Bad Company.
What's it? Bad Company, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
this painkiller is really getting to me.
That's right.
Andy, go ahead, man.
Yeah, are we at number 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's already been spoken, but I'm going to talk about them as well. Iron Maiden, I think should have been in the first time they were eligible. I don't know why they weren't. I mean, they had. I mean, just like the Scorpions, they're beloved around the world, and these guys had albums, 6 or 7, that were highly influential and at a very high high what's the word I'm looking for? Oh well, I can't think of the word right now. But those albums were very high quality albums all the way through. So they should definitely have been in already. If the bands that they influence goes in before them, that's wrong. So I would say Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even people that didn't like Somewhere in Time and Seven Son, those were still very successful albums.
Yeah, it was great album.
Yeah.
And those were very even those were very influential on a lot of stuff that came afterwards. On bands like Iced Earth and that kind of stuff that are coming afterwards that are kind of working that
conceptual.
Kind of,
yeah. So that's my number 3.
All right, man. My number 3, Joe mentioned them earlier, and it's Alice in Chains, man. So I gotta go with them. Yeah, they predated Nirvana a year, man. Broke, and nobody really kind of gives them kind of the credit for that. It wasn't as massive as obviously as Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it was big, man. Fucking MTV was playing Man in a Box like around the clock, man. And I remember seeing that video and hearing that band. I'm like, who the hell is this, man? I love the melding of Lane and Jerry's voices, man. Those like kind of dark harmonies, man, that they put together had a hypnotic quality to them that it always drew me in. So I think they need to be in there, man. If Nirvana and Pearl Jam are in there again, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden should be in as well. So that's my number 3.
All right, Mark.
Number 3, I already talked about it. Boston. I think Boston should be in there. That's my number 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. All right, Joe had brought him up earlier. I'm a huge fan of him, and I definitely think he deserves to be in there somehow, whether it's with the project or as an engineer. Alan Parsons, I think the man is on both sides of the track has done good as far as an engineer, songwriter, band, or whatever you want to call it. Absolutely gets. Did you say he was nominated before for anything in the past?
No, never.
That's a fucking travesty right there, in my opinion. I mean, he's pretty much been considered like a really mellow guy, so I don't really think he really cares either way. But I do think he, deserves at least to be fucking nominated for what he's done, at least behind the scenes in the music business. Like you said with the Beatles and all that shit. But absolutely, I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. All right, number 2, Joe.
All righty. My number 2. Quick little trivia question for everyone out there. Who is the first band in the history of music to have 4 consecutive multi-platinum studio albums?
Oh, you fucking bastard. Styx.
Styx. If they're starting to put bands like Foreigner in and Journey in, I think Styx deserves to be in there. Easily.
I'll just piggyback off you. That's my next one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely they deserve to be in there, man.
I think they have twice as deep of a discography as Foreigner does.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that they have twice the influence as Foreigner does. And I think that Oh yeah, much more experimental. Their music. I mean, you listen to some of that stuff, all these different lights and shades on the albums. I mean, you'll even like just pull out Grand Illusion, their biggest album. You go from a song like The Grand Illusion to Fooling Yourself, Come Sail Away, Superstars,
Miss America,
Miss America,
Yeah.
Man in the Wilderness. Then you got this creepy dark castle walls, and then ended out with the grand finale. And I mean, it's just they had so much light and shade on their albums that it was just they could play all these different. They could play these beautiful songs like Crystal Ball or Boat on the River, and then turn it around and do Queen of Spades and Rockin' the Paradise and Blue Collar Man and Renegade. And they had so much the showmanship and the musicality and the vocals. It's just all so amazing. And their discography is just like so deep that the amount of deep cuts that you can pull off a Styx album that you'll never hear on the radio,
especially the Wooden Nickel era.
Oh yeah,
holy shit, that's good stuff.
And stuff that you never hear people talk about.
I mean, John Serlinski was a great fucking guitar player.
You listen even for people that know the A&M stuff. Listen to Equinox. Listen to some of the stuff he's doing on Sweet Madam Blue, or listen to Midnight Ride,
Lorelei, all that shit. Lorelei is James Young, I think, but anyway,
but even still,
it's just a phenomenal band, and I think they will get. I think they're trying to spread them apart a few years, like Journey and Foreigner. Well, now they're getting. Dennis just turned 80, so I don't know how long he's got left, but we should see.
Well, if the rest of the band's any indication, Tommy Shaw must be drinking from the freaking fountain of youth.
Oh shit!
My God, that man! I don't think he ever ages. I see them. I literally see them live every year, and I think he gets younger every time I see him.
Well, you can tell people when they're young if they're going to look young as they get older. And he looked like a baby when he first joined the band.
Well, that's why. I mean, you look at the Kilroy Was Here film. He was supposed to be playing this like teenager,
right?
When he's in his like 30s.
Yeah, I am just bought my Styx ticket yesterday for this summer.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Andy. I did the same thing. I got $25 Sarah McLaughlin $25 tickets, and
they have the $25 tickets out right now.
Who else did I get?
I think I'm doing.
Hey, Jessica.
I'm looking.
Who?
Talking to my wife. Hold on.
No, Joesph. Who'd you buy?
Oh,
sorry. I'm planning on getting the Deep Purple and Yes tickets.
I got that one yesterday too. I mean, dude, $25 for Yes and Deep Purple. How can you not?
I would get it for Deep Purple, but without John Anderson, it's not Yes.
We only got the Sarah McLaughlin tickets.
Yeah, we know that. You said that before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry agrees with me.
What was that? I'm sorry, I was talking.
I said Yes without John Anderson isn't worth it.
Oh, I agree. To me, Yes died when Chris Squire died. I mean, sorry.
But I mean, if they're playing with Deep Purple, I think that's a bill that's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Andy, see how
I'm gonna count that. I'm gonna count that as my pick too, because we both talked about Styx. So, Andy, what's your next one?
This might produce a couple of thumbs down because of their history and of how they started, but they were so influential back in the '60s, and but they died down so quickly. But they are a band that I just love so much, and they haven't even been considered or spoken about to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm talking about the Monkees. They sold so many albums.
I'll say thumbs up.
Huge thumbs up from me.
Their TV show was influential. Their movie was a little weird. Talk about acid trip.
Oh yeah, watch it.
What was that called again? It was like one word title.
Head.
What was it called?
Head.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they
that was supposed to be their Sgt. Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they let Jack Nicholson produce it, and Jack Nicholson's never produced anything in his life. He's like, yeah, sure, why not? But I thought I know that the Monkees had, the first two albums they had people play their instruments for them, but they did all the singing. There's so many bands that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that they didn't play instruments. They were the vocal guys. But when they got to their third album called Headquarters, which is their best album, they wrote most of it, they performed it, they played it, and then from then on, they made the band their own. They refused to have anyone play for them. What they did is they put their foot down against the big business guys to say, hey, we're going to be a band and we're going to do it our way. And they let them. and they walked away from the TV show because they wanted that right to make good pop rock music.
Well, I mean, Mike and Peter were musicians anyway, weren't they? Before
well, Davey was a
started?
Broadway singer.
Yeah, I don't think Mickey was the only one that really wasn't a drummer. I think.
Yeah, he had to learn how to
play
play drums.
Yeah.
But he sang.
and he had a great voice.
Yeah, great voice.
Yeah, and he was kind of the personality of that band. And Mike is a fantastic player.
And they had Davey being the heartthrob, and I mean, I have huge thumbs up for that. I mean, people, I always hate when people pull out that like, oh well, they were a TV band excuse. Well, if you buy one of their greatest hits albums, the first 6 songs, that's about all you're going to get when they were a TV band. Everything after that was when they were a band. I mean, from all, like you said, from Headquarters on. So songs like Little Bit of Me, Little Bit of You, Pleasant Valley Sunday, Daydream Believer, like their biggest song.
Mary,
amazing.
I mean,
Mary, like
I like Stepping Stone.
Randy Scouse Get, like all these like big like songs was when they were an actual band, and and no one gives them credit for it. And I think they're such catchy songs, and even the songs from when they were a TV band.
That's what I was going to say. Even those songs were good. I mean,
Last Train to Clarksville is one of my favorite songs of all time by any band.
I love that song.
I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, I'm a Believer. All these songs, it's just they're legendary for a reason, and you can make all these arguments whatever you want. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, but they never sniffed it.
Yeah, I'm so glad I got to see them live before COVID, man. Like a few years before, I saw them. It was Mickey and Peter, but Nesmith came on Skype and played through Skype a couple songs with them too. So it wasn't the 3 of them at one point. You know, Mike didn't come on stage. And then after Peter died, I think Nesmith and Dolan toured together then. And then now, like, it's just down to, but I'm so glad I got to see them with the 3 guys at least.
I still think Mickey does something, doesn't he? With
he does.
I don't know what he calls it. He still calls it.
I gotta tell you, man,
Mickey was part of the Hollywood Vampires, man. Come on.
It was one of the funniest. It was one of the funnest. It was one of the funnest concerts I ever went to with my wife, man. It's like one of those. You just know like every song, and I loved it, man.
He did coke with Alice Cooper and John Lennon, man. He's fucking a legend.
and the thing is, I bought my ticket for the Mickey and Mike show, and I finally got my ticket, but that's when COVID hit.
Yeah,
COVID hit hard, and then they kept on postponing it. Oh well, COVID will go away in another month, in a couple of weeks, and then we all know what happened. That was a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I never got to see them, and then Mike passed away. And Mike was always one of my favorites, even in the TV show. I always had a different favorite each time.
Yeah.
So
one of my favorite videos of all time is Mike Nesmith and Frank Zappa sitting down, interviewing each other. It's hilarious. And when Frank Zappa respects you, you're doing something right.
Yeah. And Peter too. Peter would go hang out with the Beatles and the Stones, and I mean, those guys are not going to hang out with you if you're just a TV fake guy. No, of course not. So yeah, that's my number 2, and I'm so glad that y'all see that.
Nice.
Jerry, I see you're holding my weakness over there. That those margarita mixes. Ooh.
Yeah, they're pretty good actually.
I love that shit. I love that shit.
They are good.
That'll get you really messed up.
Yeah, my wife just handed it to me and said, if I want some, I'm on fucking hydrocodone. I can't drink that shit while I'm on it.
That stuff is like sneaky hardcore.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You think it'd be like weak and watered down, but it's pretty.
And then you get about halfway through a glass, you're like, oh, I'm feeling this.
Where we at? Andy, number 2.
Hey, I think Andy just went on.
Oh, my bad. Okay, okay, yeah.
All right, well, my number 2 is going to be King Crimson, like Joe said before. The influential prog rock band, but not only that, I mean, they were avant-garde enough that as they went into the 70s into the 80s, I mean, it wasn't just people like there were actual people in punk and post-punk and things that actually cited King Crimson as an influence as well. They had that broad kind of, they had that weirdness and art kind of rock fucking fucking experimental nature to them that, you know, kind of influenced like into the 80s, like with the whole Blue and 2011, that era, man. I mean, that's like fucking almost alternative in a way, like of the 80s and shit.
Well,
you know,
hell, you listen, you go back even into the 70s, you listen to something like Lark's Tongue Part 2, that's proto-punk.
Yeah.
Like, that's like,
yeah,
you hear that influence of like what was
exactly, man. Yeah, the whole, they were like, you couldn't really categorize them after like the first couple albums. Yeah, they had the prog rock thing, but then they morphed into like this whole experimental kind of thing that's probably why they didn't get on the radio, but they influenced massive different people from different genres, man. I mean, I think fucking Johnny Ron even loved King Crimson, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, those punkers, man, they couldn't admit to liking prog rock or whatever, but King Crimson had this different, they were like kind of their own thing, man. So I think
they were like Motorhead, where they were like above the genre.
Yeah, they kind of transcended the genre anyway. So that's my pick, King Crimson number 2. I think they should be in there like hands down, man. You know. So
all right, Mark, number 2.
Number 2, you guys already talked about Maiden. Of course, Maiden should be in there.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? Paul Diano should be in there with them too, because there would be no Maiden without Paul.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm more of a fucking Dickinson fan.
Okay.
But I agree, Paul brought some bite to the band. I do like those first 2 albums. So I enjoy every Maiden album except when that one dude came in.
Please.
Please, yeah, I didn't like that shit.
I think they would include Paul, I think, too, in the induction.
They better.
They'd have to.
And even Stratton should be in there too. It's like
Blaze, I don't know, but
no, not Blaze.
Well, they didn't put Ripper in with Judas Priest, so
well, those albums are horrible.
They didn't even put Scott Travis in with Judas Priest.
Well, that's fucked up.
They didn't.
No,
I thought they did.
The band said something about it.
Les Binks and Dave Holland. That's the only 2 drummers. I thought Travis went in too.
Nope,
but
I don't think so.
He's been there like for 30 years. I mean, he's been there since like 1990.
I think he's
Did
in
they
there.
put him in?
I think he's in there with them because he did.
It's
I think he made a speech at the Hall of Fame, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think they did put him in.
Oh no, you're right. It was they were complaining because they didn't put Richie in. That was what it was.
Yeah.
That was
Well, him I could kind of see. But if they put Robert Trujillo in, then
right.
That's what I'm.
We didn't
Especially
even make
when
an album, but they put in every Chili Pepper guitar player too. So and didn't put in a Breezy from Pearl Jam.
Oh yeah, that one I know.
That was a stupid ass fucking thing.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
They always leave like one. Well, like when they put in what the guy from Deep Purple, but didn't put in Nick Simpler.
Yeah,
they put Evans in, but they didn't put Simpler in.
Yeah,
so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, because Simpler was there all the way through.
Yeah.
Until changed to Mark II.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
I already did Sticks with Joesph, so we're doing number 1s now. Joe.
Alrighty, so my number 1 is, I think, the first one on my list that has been mentioned by somebody else.
Yeah.
At least I got it in. At least I got it in before you.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, I'll give you this one, Al. I'll give you this one. This has all just been a ploy to get back at you for stealing my Cheap Trick one episode. I'll never forgive you for. But
I'm sorry, man.
we're all talking about him, so I mean it's amazing. And Ronnie James Dio, if there is ever a human being that deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that is rock and roll, that is heavy metal, it's Ronnie James Dio. I mean, I can literally start sitting here and listing all songs. I'm not going to do that, but I mean, just like all I have to say is Stargazer, and like that's it.
Oh God!
Like literally, you listen to Stargazer, and if you try to tell me that Ronnie James Dio doesn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on that alone, but then you look at everything he did after that, and even before that. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the first Rainbow album, but I mean, Catch the Rainbow is one of the most beautiful songs ever written. And
Children of the Sea.
oh well, yeah, I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
Oh, you
but I'm
better.
saying I'm going backwards from Rising.
Okay.
I said
Well,
I'm not
Elf,
a
I didn't
huge-
like Elf that much.
I never really listened to Elf, but
Yeah.
like even on the first Rainbow album, Catch the Rainbow is a beautiful track. But then you get into Rainbow Rising with Stargazer and Tarot Woman and Light in the Black, and then Long Live Rock and Roll with Gates of Babylon and Kill the King and all that stuff.
Lady
you
of
can
the
do all
Lake.
these heavy, hard rocking songs, and then you get into the years with Black Sabbath, and Children of the Sea is one of my all-time favorite songs, and the song Heaven and Hell and Falling Off the Edge of the World, just so many amazing tracks. And you get into the first two Dio albums and all those classic tracks.
The last album he did with Heaven and Hell was a fucking great going out, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I'm not a huge fan of anything Dio really did after like mid '90s.
Bible Black, Adam.
Well, it's a
and
great
Evil.
song, but
Oh.
I mean I'm just not. I never really connected much with anything he did past like maybe like
You don't like Dehumanizer?
Strange
either?
Highways. I said after Strange Highways,
Oh,
which
okay.
is after Dehumanizer. Like post Strange Highways, I'm not really a huge fan of anything he did after that. And I mean, he still had a great voice even to the end. And so, I mean, just for everything he did, he was the living personification of heavy metal.
I agree with you. Master of the Moon and Imagine whatever that was.
Magica.
But fucking Heaven and Hell album was fucking like back to fucking Dio to me.
Yeah.
That album was fucking amazing. That's just me.
All right, so it's Al's turn or
Andy.
Andy's turn. My bad.
My number one, I'm gonna agree with Joe. It's Dio. I mean, for everything that he did for the hard rock and heavy metal genre, I'm like Joesph. I never really heard Elf, but I don't have to because Rainbow answered that. I know that I like Ozzy, Black Sabbath more, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the Dio years as well with those three albums. And then, of course, you cannot deny what Dio did with his own band, and which makes me think that Vivian Campbell is the best guitar player Def Leppard ever had.
Well, of course.
But I did lose a little bit of interest when it got into the 2000s, and I really do want to get into those Heaven and Hell albums. I think there's two of them, right?
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
They were gonna make another one, but he died.
They did Devil You Know, and they did a live album.
Yeah,
live
I
album.
have both of those. The live album is amazing too.
So that's something that I do want to check out a little bit more. I know that every time I turn it on, something happens and I stop streaming it, but it sounds so different from like it sounds a little darker. It's got that dark.
It is. Listen to the song Bible Black and get back to me. That's all.
That's by far my favorite song off that album.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm going to dig into. But yeah, Dio is a travesty that he's not in there, and I can kind of understand why they didn't put him in with Sabbath. I can understand why, because Sabbath went in because of what they did with Ozzy. That I understand. But him as a solo artist should have been in there, or him as a performer when it came to what he did his whole career. So Dio, my number one.
For Al?
My number one's Iron Maiden, man. I just think they should be in there, massively influential. The whole coming out of the new wave of British heavy metal scene, just kind of becoming a worldwide phenomenon. Just another international band, like we talked about before. I mean, they're beloved in like so many Europe, South America. They're just, when I think international, that's another band I think of. So Iron Maiden's my number one.
And I think it's silly that all of these pages that we follow have an argument against Priest, against Maiden. I think you can listen to both of them and enjoy both of them.
I
think they're both
I
great.
put them on even keel, man. I love them both the same, man. However, that Invincible Shield album that just came out fucking better than anything Maiden's done in a long time. So
In a long time, yeah.
I hated that. I hated that. Well, I don't want to give the review away, but we just did that on Freeform. But man, what an album Invincible Shield is, man. I love it. I mean,
and it's and to me, it's still not even close to being as good as Firepower.
You see, a lot of people talk about Firepower, but I like Redeemer of Souls better.
Oh, Redeemer
really,
Souls is great.
I like Redeemer Souls too.
Angel of
it's great.
Retribution is another amazing album.
Yeah.
Aside from Nostradamus, I don't think they've made a bad album since Halford came back.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why did he leave in the first place? He just wanted to try new shit, or did he get along, or what?
I think there was some stuff. Well, his voice, he was having watch the Painkiller tour. He was having some major vocal issues,
Gotcha.
and it didn't help that he was trying to sing all those Painkiller songs even higher than they were in the studio. Like when they'd do All Guns Blazing, he'd do it even an octave higher, and it's like, what are you doing to yourself, dude?
Right.
And he was having some major vocal issues, and I think he just needed time off because he did fight, but even then, that was a couple years after Painkiller. That was a little bit of a break in there, and so he really didn't do anything like major. Like
I think he just burnt himself out.
Yeah,
Needed a break.
And even then, even Priest themselves didn't do anything for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, because
Jugular was 97,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Painkiller was 90. So,
but he's really come back 100% with that band. And can we even mention Judas Priest? I mean, they got shortchanged, man. That's a stupid ass.
Yeah, I never thought about. I don't think they'll probably ever get in again. I don't think.
No.
What do you guys think?
The only thing I'll say, they had them come out, they had them give their speeches, and they had them come out and play their songs. It wasn't like they just they did something where it was just like, end this year's Musical Excellence Award, Judas Priest, and move on to the next thing. Right. At least they let them come out and they all gave their speeches and they played, and we got to see KK and Les play with Judas Priest probably for the last time ever.
Yeah, but they put that little thing underneath them, it's not.
It was 100% a completely disrespectful move. 100%.
It was fucked up.
Intentionally disrespectful. Like,
because I didn't
meant to be disrespectful.
What the hell is this? Why is there pretty much an asterisk next to their name?
The fact that they got to get up there and you could tell it meant a lot to, especially to Halford. Especially to Halford. And the fact that we got to see Judas Priest, we got to see Glenn and KK on the stage together one more time. We got to see Rob play with those guys. We got to see the Unleashed in the East lineup on stage one last time. We got to see all of this one last time because it's never going to happen again. No matter what anyone says, the fact that KK's Priest exists cements for me that KK is never coming back to Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's it.
And the fact that, thanks to the fact that even though it was intentionally disrespectful, that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame let us see Judas Priest play together one last time.
All right. Mark, you're number one, dude.
You guys already talked about this band, and Dio, I forgot about Dio. He probably would have been on it. He would have been on this list, seriously. But Styx, I love fucking Styx. Yeah. I love the last album, Jerry. I love Crash the Crown. I love this band. I love Tommy Shaw. I know Tommy Shaw would never get in there solo, but he should be in there with Styx.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so Styx is my number one. I love.
He's in the White Castle Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yes, but it's never been all these bands I kind of, except for like New York Dolls and stuff, I listen to all the time still. I still listen to Styx like in heavy rotation. It's like, it's a band Boston. I still listen to Boston. I still listen to Motorhead, Soundgarden, like all these bands. Thin Lizzy would have been on my list, but I'm just now getting into the deep cuts of Thin Lizzy. So they belong in there. I give a thumbs up for that too. But man, it's great bands that are heavily in my playlist, and it just sucks that they're not getting any credit.
All right. My number, go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and I am one of those people that believe that that it hurts my feelings that they're not in there. That, I know that a lot of people say, oh, I don't care if they are or they're not. I do, because all these bands that we've talked about tonight deserve that respect to be honored as one of the greatest. That's it.
All right, my number one is an absolute fucking travesty. They're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How can Right Said Fred not be in the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Because they're too
They're too
sexy.
sexy.
They're
for
too
it.
sexy for it.
They're
They're too sexy for it.
Nah.
With all the lip syncing going on, how come Milli Vanilli's not in the fucking Hall? They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, I mean they made up a whole new genre.
Justice for Millie.
Yeah.
But my number one is anticlimactic because it's Dio. I mean, absolutely fucking should definitely be in there for it should have been in there a long time ago. But we talked about it. But I just wanted to say something goofy like I always do. But yeah, because my number one's anticlimactic because everybody else picked it. So yeah, Dio, absolutely, 100%.
Awesome.
Now I'm trying to determine History of the World or LA Story. What should I watch?
History of the World. History of the World.
History of the World wins. Sorry, I like them both. I just couldn't consider.
All right, so
The
that
Inquisition.
so that was our episode, right, Jerry?
Yep, that was a lot of fun. It's a great topic, Al. Man, it's a lot of fun talking about all these bands. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but you know, I get it. So this was fun. Enjoyed it. Thank you all for being on, man.
Thank you.
So then we get to Al, pimp your stuff, man. Final thoughts, also.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me pick a topic. I thought this was cool that now that the inductees gotten, announced and everything. I thought it was a kind of a cool topic to cover. So thank you for letting me on and doing this. I think Andy, what are we doing next week? Are we doing the Weezer?
Yes, even though you don't think that they belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
Yes.
It doesn't mean I don't like them.
Shots fired.
We are going to be doing Weezer's album Pinkerton. I'm very excited about that because that's one of my favorite albums. So I'm excited about that. Al and I will be doing that. We'll be going track by track and giving a ranking, and also we will talk about what's been spinning. So we got a big show coming up next weekend that, well, I'm very excited for.
And I'm just kind of brainstorming ideas for the future episodes and stuff, but we'll reveal them next week. So thank you.
All right.
Yes.
And if you want to check out that Toto show, it's on my channel. Be cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that earlier today. I gotta finish it.
Any other thing, Andy? You guys are promoting stuff right now. Do you have anything to say? What do you?
Yes. I wanted to say thank you for having us, and I am excited for next week's show because next week's show is my pick. So I'm excited for that. And I would have also
what is that pick? Give him a preview.
It's the Weezer, right?
We are going to do the Cake Tale album
of
our top 11 duets. So and this duets can be by two bands or by two artists. It could be a live song, it could be a studio track, or it could be a one-off charity song. It's whatever y'all want to do. I'm not going to be prickly about it like I am about other things, but this will be able for any kind of duet that was made is open. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to finally have a pick here on this great show, the BS with Mark and Jerry, a show that I'm very honored to be on every once in a while. Well, lots of a while. So
yeah.
So thank you so much, guys.
So
I forgot to mention every Sunday I got that new show on my daughter, Knowledge Nerds with Kayla.
I watched the last one. It's good, dude. It's good. I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a couple episodes where we get in the groove and vibe and stuff. But I like the premise of the show where we give each other homework assignments and stuff like that. So it's cool, man. She's introducing me to stuff. I introduce her to stuff, and I just love doing it with her. So Knowledge Nerds every Sunday, kind of like a weekly wrap up thing we do with each other. So
I'm excited to see what she's going to say about Depeche Mode's Violator.
Yeah.
Ooh, I gotta watch that. I love that album. Joesph, final thoughts, man.
Thanks for having me on as always. This was a great topic. A lot of fun bands we were talking about here. Got to shit on Weezer, which is always fun. But yeah, no, I had a great time. Always love talking about music with you guys. It's always a great, a lot of fun. Like Al said about the show he went to, if anyone is interested in seeing any of the shows from the bands at M3, I think there was a guy that posted like every single one of them on YouTube, like the full concerts from all the different bands. So yeah, some great stuff to check out. As I always say, buy physical media. I just got a bunch of 1920s silent movies in the mail today.
Holy shit.
Got a bunch of silent movies. So yeah. Always buy physical media.
You're more avant-garde than I am. I like Charlie Chaplin. I think that's about it.
Oh, I have a bunch of Charlie Chaplin movies back here. I got like Metropolis and
or Buster Keaton stuff.
Phantom of the Opera and
Buster Keaton.
Let me ask,
Nosferatu.
Are they in surround?
They very well might. Well, the orchestral tracks might be.
You know what? I feel like a fucking idiot because it took me a second to fucking realize that.
That hit me hard.
Let me see what the back of the disc says.
I'm like a dumbass. Oh, are they
it's
really?
a silent movie in full stunning 7.1.
But in silent movies, they did have a piano player in the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, that's what's cool about a lot of these. It's the studio is Kino that does all these Blu-rays, and a lot of them they do like they commission people to do new scores for all these movies. So all these movies come with like 4 or 5 like unique scores that they commission, like
Nosferatu.
Different cuts of the movies, Nosferatu and Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, all kinds of old silent movies. But
see, they should dub in some. They should dub in some Blue Oyster Cult into that. Nosferatu.
Oh, 100%.
Nosferatu.
Well, that would fit so well. Well, they did that in the 80s with Metropolis. Giorgio Moroder did that Metropolis with like Duran Duran and shit in it.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I've been watching
completely ruined an amazing movie.
All right, Jerry, final thoughts and then I'll take us out.
We are gonna do our 5th episode of 3 Shots Down, hopefully next week. I think we are. Looking forward to that, talking about Sam Cooke. It's just that, Kate is, she's working on her comedy, which I fully endorse and back her up 100%.
She has something going on tonight, I think.
Yeah. So, I fully endorse that. I understand why, we can't do it like every week. So that's her passion. She's good at it too. So
I'm glad for her, man. She's
I am too.
It's starting to take off for her, and it's great, man.
Yeah. And then we're doing a really good show on Freeform this Saturday. Looking forward to talking about that album. Can't mention it, right, Mark?
I don't care. Well, Russia's it's going to be out 12 weeks later.
Yeah, Russia's Presto is one of my favorite Rush albums, so I'm looking forward to doing that one.
Now, when is that episode that you want to do that?
Saturday.
May
11th. Remember I asked you May 11th?
I can't do it this Saturday, man.
I'll get somebody else then.
Because you want to do it at like 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 1 in the
Yeah, dude. Let me get back to you tomorrow, but if you want to ask somebody else, go ahead. But I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, dude.
Oh, okay, man. Shit.
But if I could try to squeeze it in, I'll try.
All right. We haven't been going long on those lately, so.
All right.
Yeah, they've been pretty short.
Yeah.
Shit, maybe I'll even do it for my car or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let us know.
I'm sure you know that album really well. So
I know that album. Any Rush album, I'll fucking.
I haven't even taken notes on it. I know that.
Yeah, I don't either, really. I mean, it's like I said, it's my favorite Rush album. I know I get laughed at for that, but I don't care. It's a fucking great album. Anyway, Mark, take us out of here, man.
Well, tomorrow on the Freeform Rock podcast, we have a Blind Melon Soup review coming out. So if you guys want to check that out, and also check out the Queen episode. We did a different kind of magic. If you want to hear Eric RNCB Short at his bitchiest, you should check out that episode because
did you just call it a different kind of magic?
What did he say about that album? He said this album is worse than puberty blockers.
He did like a few.
It's not that bad of an album.
I think it's a great album myself.
It's not a great album, but it's not that bad.
You need to listen to Eric. He's going off. It's hilarious.
Well, he was never a Queen fan to begin with, so
no, but
it's like that.
I was laughing my ass off. I listened to the whole thing, and I was going, "Fucking A, Eric is fucking on fire." And
he's like telling his wife, "Don't listen to this, honey."
Yeah, he did. He was like gay porn, whatever was going on in that episode. He was talking about lots of shit.
Yeah.
He said, I know Freddie's fruity, but this fruitier than I ever thought he was. So tough like that, man. All right, man. Thank you guys
Freddie
for being
rolls.
on here. Get back to us for Freeform Al tomorrow, whatever.
All right.
And thank you guys. Take it easy. Later.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Have a great night.
Like, share, and
Y'all too.
subscribe. Later.